kind of tentativity meant that she just couldn't quite get to the finish line in time to overhaul Anna Henderson.
And just putting the sort of British perspective to one side for a moment, that is some ride by Grace Brown, the Australian, to destroy the field by, what was it, a minute and a half, something like that?
Yeah, it's
that's
insane.
Superhuman, that, isn't it?
It's insane. And, you know, we'll probably talk about this a bit more later with the men's race, but this is one thing where, you know, Grace Brown has fully focused on this race. This was it for her, I think, this year. You know, the other riders maybe have other commitments, other things that they have also been thinking about, but the absolute sheer pinpoint focus on this one event has resulted in a huge time gap.
She's retiring, isn't she, at the end of the season? And one of her quotes ahead of retiring: "Let's see if I can sign off in style." I would argue that she probably has.
Yeah, I think so. It would be, you know, she could retire tomorrow, couldn't she? That's it now. She's happy.
Thank you very much to both of you. We'll be back for the medals, I think, in a little while. Silver for Anna Henderson. We've got a bronze. Team GB did in the diving earlier, as Jonathan said, with Yasmin Harper and Scarlett Mew-Jensen. So a silver and a bronze already for Team GB. The Australians had success in the women's time trial. How are they going in the men's rugby sevens semi-final against Fiji? Sarah Orchard.
Well, of course, Fiji is everyone's second favourite rugby team, the Flying Fijians, but they are under pressure here in this Olympic semi-final. They're the reigning Olympic champions, but it is who am I watching now? It's Australia who lead now 7-0. So much was the excitement of the last semi-final, but it's Ben Dowling who's just gone over in the corner. And we have to remind ourselves, Mark, that Fiji, they've never, ever lost an Olympic game of sevens because they are two-time champions. This is only the third time it's been in the Olympic Games. They know how to play at this major tournament, and it means so much for their country. The gold medal that they won back in Rio the first time, that was the first time Fiji had ever had a medal of any colour. So they're really under the pump here as I watch on with Tom Vandel.
Yeah, they are under the pump. But do you know what? Australia, they've defended so well. But saying that, Fiji are just about to have a breakaway try.
Huge breakaway. Nasova goes over under the post. That'll be converted nice and easy. He takes his time to touch down the ball to try and tire out those Australians as they catch him. It's the half-time hooter with a conversion to come, and Fiji will level. It's 5-7, conversion to come, but Tom Vandel, you know, this is Fiji bread and butter.
You know, that sums up Fiji. They're under pressure the whole of that first half. They've done some great plays, some little interlinks, but the weather conditions are playing havoc on these boys today. They really are. But Fiji, you look like you've got them on the ropes, and from nowhere, a little quick sidestep, a little offload, and they're away. And that's exactly what they're about.
Okay, so still waiting for that conversion to come here, but what an incredible day it's been at the Stade de France so far. France are into that gold medal match that'll be at 6:45 tonight. This match between Fiji and Australia will decide who will meet them there. And of course, I can't say this enough, that'll be the first gold medal of any team sport. And there is so much pressure on France at the moment, Tom, because everyone's talking about Antoine Dupont playing in the sevens. They've done so well to get to this point, having really never made any impact on the sevens tour at all.
Yeah, and look, Dupont is carrying the whole weight of his country on his shoulders, and he's delivering at the moment. The French have been pretty good in the World Series over the last couple of years. They've got better and better. They've got some great little stars up behind Dupont, but Dupont leading it, the talisman at the front, and it's great for rugby. It's great for France on the back of obviously the Rugby World Cup as well, where they didn't really achieve all the heights they were expected to. This is their opportunity now.
Okay, right then, they're about to just get ready for the second half. Half time here then in this semi-final. It is Fiji 7, Australia 7.
Are they playing the can-can after every try?
Pretty much. I mean, they're doing everything, I have to say, Mark. You hear Le Marseillaise all the time, and that's just the crowd sing it. You hear Allez le Bleu. They don't care who's on the field. Obviously, there's been the booing earlier today of Argentina. We're used to that now at the games. But the whole crowd in here, it's so wonderfully partisan, and you have to give it to the French. Why shouldn't they enjoy this?
It's just something slightly bizarre about the can-can in it. When a try scored in rugby union. We'll be back for the second half very shortly. Let's just go back to John Akers, who's across the canoeing and the kayaking this afternoon.
Yep, so just to let you know that Adam Burgess, in the first run of his C1 canoe slalom event, has gone second quickest, which is a terrific run from Adam. So if it were to be a final, he would have won the silver. They've got another run coming up, but he can really relax now until Monday, until the semi-finals. Nicolas Guestin of France was quickest and looked very, very comfortable on his home water, I've got to say. The world number one, though, Savsek, back in 12th at the moment after his first run. Only 4 of the 20 will be eliminated at this stage, and still to come, Kimberly Woods in the K1 kayak heats. That's next. She's going to be going soon. Bronze in the World Championships last year in this event at Lee Valley. Gold in the kayak cross, which you're going to hear a lot more about on 5 Live. So just to let you know, Adam Burgess at the moment second quickest.
The kayak cross is going to be special, isn't it?
It is a sensational event.
So it's a race, isn't it, basically?
It's a race. So you've got a ramp. It's 2 meters suspended above the water. Plastic canoes and kayaks, and not carbon fibre, else someone could die. It literally, and then they go hell for leather down the water. They're allowed to smash into each other. There are paddles going to the face. They go round the gates, but they can touch them. They're all padded, and then first across the line at the bottom wins. Joe Clark, very, very good at it for Great Britain, and also Kimberly Woods, a world champion last year. There's going to be lots of that on 5 Live. It's going to be loads of fun.
Good stuff. Thank you, John. Back with John for when Kimberly Woods goes this afternoon. Fiji have started the second half of the Rugby Sevens with a bang. Sarah and Tom.
Yes, welcome back to all the action inside the Stade de France, where it is Rugby Sevens semi-final day at the moment. It will be medal day a little bit later this evening. We know that France, they are into that gold medal match. Will they deliver for the nation? Who are they going to play? Well, it's either going to be Fiji or Australia. At the moment, it's going to be Fiji because they lead in this second half. Conversion to come here. They lead 14-7 against the Australians. Watching alongside me, Tom Barndell, Commonwealth Games silver medalist with England. Fiji, they're going through the gears.
Yeah, they really are. And that last try, literally, 10 seconds ago, was trademark Fiji. They look like they're not going anywhere. They're passing it 10 metres back and then suddenly they just switch that switch, don't they? And make a half break on the outside. And their offloading game is just brilliant, just fantastic.
Now, we were just talking a little bit as we were waiting things to get back going again. And Tom Varndale, what did you describe playing Fiji as like?
It's literally like playing a team from the Space Jam movie. They are humongous, they're quick, their skill set is unbelievable. It's like playing a team of giants. And I remember playing them in the Hong Kong final. The hardest game of rugby I've ever played in my life. England went on to win it, but honestly, I've never been so tired afterwards.
Well, at the moment, the Fijians have never lost an Olympic match. This is only the 3rd Olympics we've had, sevens. They are the 2-time reigning champions, although they haven't had it all their own way on the World Tour this year. They finished 6th in the series at the end. They are the Commonwealth Games silver medalists, but Olympics are their specialist subject. They lead inside the Stade de France 14-7 at the moment, and they've just got a penalty as they kick it down this near side of the field. Hasn't gone out of play, but the Australians weren't far enough back and it's gone out of play. Yeah,
and that's a lucky bounce to them there, because it was kicked short, but the Aussies weren't set deep enough, and it's gone out for the line out to Fiji. Australia in that first half had to work so hard. Defensively, they had to be on their money, and you can just see that little bit of energy, that little bit of sparks now being taken out of the Aussies due to the fact they just had to work so hard to repel these Fijians in attack.
Well, the Wallabies, they've never been at this stage in the Olympics at all. In Rio, they finished 8th. Tokyo was 7th. Semi-finals is the best they've ever achieved, but they've only got just under 4 minutes now to try and make a mark and see if they can get into that gold medal match here. A little bit of a break as they just sort out an injury in the middle of the field for the time being. The Stade de France, I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible, the atmosphere here. And we're saying there's a big purple carpet around the outside of the pitch. The stadium is in athletics mode, so normally you would get more of a crowd inside the stadium, but because the athletics track is underneath that purple carpet, they have had to slightly reduce the capacity, but still an incredible crowd that are packed in here, and a highly expectant one as well. Right then, Fiji, who lead 14-7 here on 5 Live in this semi-final. We're in the second half. There's 3 minutes 44 seconds to play. Remember, a game of rugby sevens, 7 minutes each way, but when it comes to those medal matches, they will be 10 minutes each way. Means a little bit more, a little bit longer A few more lung busts as the Fijians come away with the ball. They're inside of the Australian 22. Nothing that the Wallabies can do, as all of a sudden Rasuku goes over underneath the post, an easy conversion, and it's already becoming too big a mountain for Australia to climb.
And that was all Jerry Tuai then. Obviously he knows how to play sevens, he's been around for a long time, but the footwork there to beat two defenders and then the late switch to put his teammate under the post, that is what it's all about. That is sevens at its best, and that's Jerry Tuai, and that's what he offers Fiji.
Jerry Tuai is a two-time Olympic gold medalist for Fiji. I mean, he might as well be crowned king of Fiji right now if they go on and get a gold medal.
Yeah, Fiji produced some pretty special sevens players, but Jerry Tuai, he is the modern day. He's brilliant, isn't he? He's fantastic. He leads his team. You know, he's not as quick as he probably used to be a few years back, but his skill set, his ability to tee space, a bit like what Dupont does for France. He is the ringleader. He literally pulls everyone around him, and he is just brilliant. But just then, that try then was some exceptional skill.
Jerry Tuai, now 35 years old, and I can tell you, in Fiji right now, I think it's around 2:15 a.m. No one is in bed. They are all up watching this in Suva right now.
They will. They'll be partying hard, looking forward to what is going to be an unbelievable final with Fiji versus France.
Well, there's a few minutes to go. Things can happen quickly in sevens, Tom Varndell. 2 minutes on the clock. Fiji 21, Australia 7. But as it stands, it will be Australia who plays South Africa in that bronze medal match. Is it going to be the fixture that I think on paper every rugby fan would have wanted deep down, and that would be France against Fiji in an Olympic final? We are going to find out very shortly here on 5 Live. Right then, the ball's going to come in by Fiji. They're attacking just outside of the Australian 22. Popped up ball in the horrible conditions. It is absolutely teeming with rain. And I have to say, both semi-finals, they have been impacted by the conditions.
They really have. You know, it's been a big defensive performance from all the teams so far in this semi-final. The conditions are so horrible. The ball, you can see how slippery it is. But I think you have to say, look, the way that Fiji have come out in the second half, they've really managed it very, very well. Defensively, they've been on it. They've used their kicking game a little bit better. Their kickoffs have been nice and short, which means they've been able to regather it and put pressure straight back on the Australians. But no, it is tough. And they've had to develop their game. They've had to play to the conditions, and Fiji have done that very, very well.
Fiji 21, Australia 7. We're waiting for a penalty here for Fiji. You don't often see this a lot in sevens, but this is about winding down the clock.
Yeah, definitely. Just to kick a goal, using the penalty, going for the 3 points. And yeah, it's a great way to preserve energy for what is going to be a big game coming up next.
Okay, so Fiji, they do kick their goal. They now lead 24 points to 7 here against Australia, and with 36 seconds left on the clock, it's all over for the Australians. It is going to be that final. It's going to be France against Fiji. They've got to play out this time now, but you have to say, from a neutral perspective, what a final.
Yeah, what a final. It is. You couldn't have asked for more. You've got defending Olympic champions against the home nation. It isn't going to get any bigger than that. The crowd is going to be absolutely pumping come this evening, and you've got to say they are the two best teams in the tournament. They were the favourites leading into it. Fiji got such a rich history in this competition. France, obviously, with superstar Dupont. I can't wait for it.
It's going to be good. Right then, 20 seconds on the clock. Fiji are going to get the boos of the crowd because they're taking so long for their restart. They just want them to get on with it. Eventually they do. It's kicked long down the field. Australia will gather. They play for pride now as the ball goes over the top. Oh, of course it's gathered by Fiji. They want to finish on a high. They pop the ball away. Oh, wonderful stuff by their star man, Ravitomanda, who goes under the post. What a finish for Fiji. They lead 29 points to 7. Still a conversion to come that just doesn't matter. But what a finish. What a restart.
Yeah, what a restart. Fiji are the king of restarts. Whether they're going short, whether they're going long, the speed in which they chase after that kick, and they are onto any kind of loose ball, and that is the danger that Fiji possess. You think that they're winding down the clock. As soon as that ball's on the floor, they're on it so quickly, and this is what France are going to have to watch all the way through this final when they play in the next round.
And Ravitomanda, he's made his debut out here in Paris. He's made an even bigger name for himself in 15s at the World Cup last year, but he's really set this tournament alight. He's got these wonderful dreads that come out, a real personality, and he flew over there. If anyone watches rugby in England, you'll remember the ash splash. It's pretty similar.
It is. A little bit more dramatic that with the Predator dreadlocks out the back of his head, but he is some player, isn't he? And when you look at this Fiji team, they've got excitement all over all over it. It is going to be an epic final.
I can tell you right now, Mark Chapman, that the organisers of the Olympics, the organisers at World Rugby, have got the final they wanted. This is the final of fairy tales in Rugby Sevens. It's the host nation, France, taking on the darlings of the Rugby Sevens world, Fiji. That will be live on 5 Live tonight at 6:45.
Yeah, there is no doubt what every TV in every cafe here in Paris and across France will be turned to at 7:45 French time, 6:45 the UK time. That was a brilliant analogy, Tom, that playing Fiji's like playing a team out of the Space Jam movie. I'm going to nick that later when we do the Rugby Sevens on the highlights. But, I mean, there is something almost magical about watching a men's Fiji Sevens team.
It is magical because they are so skillful, so talented, and you can see how much it means to them as well, the passion they play with. Even watching the shots, the highlights from around the stadium now, you can see how much just enjoying being there and being at centre stage of the Olympics.
What are the challenges for the French then this evening?
Well, they've got 12 challenges because they've got 12 Fijians in their squad. They are it's just the speed, the size of them. They're so precise in terms of their kickoffs, and they've just got to be on the money the whole game, because when you feel like you've got Fiji under pressure, they can just turn from pressure straight into attack, and they can score from anywhere. And we've seen all parts of their game in this semi-final.
Which actually, Sarah, we saw in that semi-final, in the fact that the Aussies were 7-0 up in that.
Yeah, and I have to say that the conditions, we talked about that lot in both halves of the semi-finals, what a significant thing this rain has had on both of them. Remember that first semi-final between South Africa and France, that was 0-0 at half-time. That's how cagey it was, that's how hard it was. But also, this is a game of fitness as well, and you have to say Fiji, they work through the gears. There is something in their DNA and in their genes. It just works for them, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. They play with no pressure, and they don't mind going behind. They know that they can score from anywhere. But what France are very, very good at is they're very good defenders. They're very fit as well, and they'll play as well. There's two very different styles going at each other, and it's going to be very, very fascinating, and weather will play a part.
Tom, Sarah, we will be back for the final, and you've got the bronze medal match as well, so that's between South Africa and Australia, and then the gold medal match, the match that everybody really wanted for the gold medal match, Fiji against France. As Sarah says, 6:45 kickoff for the gold medal. Let's switch codes, switch countries. Super League today, Salford against Castleford. Ian Chisnell.
19 minutes gone at the AJ Bell, and Castleford lead by 6 points to 0. It has to be said, against the run of play. 14 minutes till the first try came. It was a lovely kick from Rowan Milnes. Jason Gary touching down in the corner for Cass. All this after Dion Cross had been over after 8 minutes. Referee Chris Kendall deemed it forward. It's Salford 0, Castleford 6.
Let's go from Salford to Ascot. We've got the King George VI and the Queen Elizabeth Stakes there this afternoon. Darren Owen.
Yes, thank you, chappers. The burning question today here at Ascot with the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes is, will August Rodin deliver for the second time at the Royal Heath? He did win at Royal Ascot. However, last year was a bit of a roller coaster journey for today's favourite. He won the Derbies at Epsom and the Curragh. Then he went on to win the Irish Champion Stakes and the Breeders' Cup. However, he flopped in the 2,000 guineas, and in this very race, he trailed in last of the 10 runners, beaten almost 130 lengths. Now, there has been one disappointment this year for today's favourite. That was in Dubai when he was well behind Rebels Romance. Now, Rebels Romance has won all over the place, basically. Hong Kong, Dubai, US, Germany and Doha, and is certainly coming here in really good form for Godolphin. Also in the mix is the only filly in the lineup. That's Blue Stocking, winner of her last 3 starts, including a Group 1 race at the Curragh. I must mention Luxembourg, because Luxembourg is a regular in these big races. It is a real jewel in the racing Summer Crown, the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes. But finally, I would like to dedicate today's 5 Live racing broadcast to the memory of Carol, Hannah and Louise, the family of our dear friend and colleague here on BBC Radio 5 Live, John Hunt. John and his daughter Amy are very much in our thoughts.
Darren, thank you very much. 4:24 here in the French capital, 3:24 in the UK. We'll go to Edgbaston next. Dan Norcross.
England 259 for 7. They've lost those 2 wickets since lunch, and it was a wicket of Stokes and a wicket of Root. Since then, though, Chris Wokes and Jamie Smith have put together a pretty decent partnership, going along quite nicely. They've added 28 since the loss of that wicket. Jamie Smith has 46. Wokes has 18. Mark Ramprakash, former England batter, alongside me. And, well, with that deficit 23 runs, we're sort of moving into sort of one innings territory here, aren't we?
Yeah, which I think is always a fascinating period of a test match because, you know, I think West Indies having batting first, they probably felt that they were slightly below par. But if they can bowl England out for, you know, not conceding too much of a lead, then they have to go out and bat well again. And this is where perhaps West Indies' inexperience of playing the longer format, you know, a lot of their players haven't played that many matches. You know, the game can ebb and flow. And sometimes experience can play a part, knowing how to go about playing in that third innings, because it does come back onto you. If you lose 1 or 2 quick ones, you can quickly become under real pressure. But at the moment, England have got work to do. Wokes has settled in very nicely. Jamie Smith has played some real eye-catching shots. He looks a real talent. And is sort of a powerful player. England brought him into for exactly this type of situation to sort of shepherd the lower order, but a guy who's capable of scoring very quickly, and he's timed the ball particularly well.
He's alongside Wokes at the moment. The loss of the next wicket, you'll see him swinging for the hills, I would imagine. But as you say, this is precisely the situation that he's brought in for, and until the West Indies take that wicket, then, you know, England will hope still for a lead of 50, 60, maybe even more. And we've got a packed house here. They're very much enjoying this partnership as it goes along. Smith is on his way to a 50, and he's going to get it now with a beautiful little flick through mid-wicket. That brings him another half century in Test cricket. His second is only his third match. He's looked the real deal today. He's got England now to within just 18 of the West Indies' first innings score of 282. As for the West Indies, bowlers have impressed. Jayden Seales has looked pretty decent today.
Yeah, without doubt. He's an eye-catching performer. In fact, I bumped into Curtly Ambrose this morning, someone who plagued me throughout my career, but he was in a very good mood, and it was great to see him. And he spoke very highly of Jayden Seales and said, look, he has coached him, and he had him ask for a chat one day, and he had him there for an hour talking about fast bowling, which would suggest that, you know, he's got the right attitude, that he's got a love of his art, and he came over, played for Sussex. He's bowled particularly well today with his away swinger. He's held his accuracy, he's kept his pace up, and he's kind of led this West Indies attack. So that's certainly a positive for the West Indian team.
264 for 7 England. Smith bringing up that half century. He has 50. Wokes 18. The deficit just 18 with about quarter of an hour to go till tea.
Do you still get shivers when you bump into Curtly, Mark?
Well, he walked into the room and I ducked instinctively.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much, Mark Ramprakash, Dan Norcross, and Sports Extra, if you want to listen to Ball by Ball of the Test match this afternoon. Sitting outside, undercover in this Parisian cafe, which is where we're going to be based for a lot of our 5 Live coverage when we're not at the venues, and people continuously walking past with their umbrellas up at the moment, and that weather is playing havoc with the tennis on the outside courts, isn't it, Maz Faruqi?
Yeah, still no update I can give you yet about play on the outside courts here at Roland Garros. Mark, remember 4 Brits on the order of play today to try and get their first round matches played today, but we really haven't been able to see very much tennis at all. On the show courts, though, of course, we can have the roofs on, so I'm watching Taylor Swift of the USA. He's just taken the first set against Alexander Bublik of Kazakhstan here on Châteauroux. He's a break-up in the second. Plenty of home support over on Long for France's Caroline Garcia. That match going, though, was serve in the first set against Jacqueline Christian of Romania. 2 Romanians, of course, already knocked out in the women's singles draw today. And we also hope in the next couple of hours we will certainly see them, because they'll be playing here under the roof for the doubles pairing for Spain, of course, of Rafael Nadal and Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz already with a straight sets win in the singles on the board today.
We've worked together a long time, Maz, so I could feel like I say this, that It'd be a hell of a story if Taylor Swift is playing.
Did I say Taylor Swift?
You did, yeah.
Oh, I meant Taylor Fritz. Sorry, everyone.
I thought so. Otherwise,
Wow.
that had gone completely under the radar if that had been happening.
That is, yeah, I don't really know. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why I did that.
And now, if I was Kelly, like last night, I'd have a whole load of Taylor Swift songs in my head that I could then throw in as puns and jokes, but that's Kelly's speciality.
You're not Swiftie then? No, you're not Swiftie.
Well, let's say I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift thanks to my youngest daughter, but how many of the song titles stick is open to debate. Thank you very much,
Apologies.
Maz. That's all right. I'm sure you'll be able to shake it off. There we go. Let's hear from Laura Collette, shall we, moving on swiftly, who smashed the eventing dressage Olympic record with a score of 17.5 on her horse, London 52. That beat the previous record held by David O'Connor from Sydney in 2000 of 19.3. She spoke afterwards to Sonia McLaughlin.
I'm going to say one word, Laura. Wow. Are you aware that's an Olympic record?
Winnie just told me that, so yeah, that's pretty cool.
Winnie is your media officer. So let that sink in for a second. That was done by David O'Connor in Sydney, 2000, and you've beaten it. What does that mean to you right now?
Oh, look, that horse, he's one in a million. I've said it all along that, you know, he loves the crowd, and I was just hoping that I hadn't made a mistake saying that when I saw how big the crowd was here. But look, he's an absolute show-off, and he loved being in front of a palace with a lot of people cheering him on. So, look, I'm just so lucky to sit on a horse like that.
Because I looked up at the scoreboard and I saw 17.50, and I was like, that can't be right. Have they got that wrong? Just explain the emotions, because you punched the air, you were giving that horse a gorgeous pat. You know, that is something you must have worked so hard for.
Yeah, there's a lot of people involved in getting a score like that. I'm just the lucky one that gets to sit there and enjoy the moment. But, you know, from everyone back home, it's a huge, huge team effort just to get here, let alone go and do a performance like that. So there's too many people to thank individually. But, you know, the National Lottery have got us here, given us the opportunity to come and show us at our best, and for that we're so grateful.
And imagine somewhere Tom McEwen was sitting going, darn you, Laura Collette, I've been leading since I was the 9th horse into the ring, and I've waited, and now you've done that. How much do you drive each other on?
Oh, we have such an amazing bond as a team. Yes, we're here as individuals, but fundamentally we're here as a team to go and win a gold medal. You know, me and Tom were lucky to be in Tokyo and get that feeling. We know what it's like, and we want to do it again. So, yes, I'm sure he was annoyed for a second, but also he would have known that it meant the team were back up there. So, and we'll be the same for Roz. She could very well go, and could be a very short-lived Olympic record.
Are you aware no British woman has ever won the individual gold medal at an Olympic Games, and how much might that be a driver?
Everything's a drive. You know, we want to rewrite the record books. I've been lucky with our horse to write record books at badminton and at 5-star level before, so let's try and do it at Olympic Games as well.
That's Laura Collette. Roz Cantor, who she talked about there, goes within the next hour, so we'll be back with Sonia McLaughlin for when Roz Cantor goes. We're going to go to the time trial very shortly. We're keeping an eye on the kayaking as well. We'll be back for when Kimberly Woods goes in that, but let's just go back to the Rugby League. Ian Chisnell.
11 to the break. Salford have got themselves on level terms. Sheer power from Nenny MacDonald away on the right edge, touching down. Chris Kendall sent it upstairs, but it was a try. Mark Sneed added the extras. We've got 11, as I said, to the break, and it's all level. Salford 6, Castleford 6.
Thank you, Ian. Let's go back to Jonathan Overend and British racing cyclist Hayley Simmons. We've already had a medal for Team GB in the women's time trial. Anna Henderson taking silver. I'm sure we will hear from her a little bit later on. We're on to the men's now, Jonathan. Are the conditions still the same?
They sure are. The volleys are still up. It's still miserable in Paris. It's still beautiful back home, I'm hearing. But here in the French capital, it's treacherous out on the roads for these cyclists. We saw multiple crashes in the women's race. And now, Hayley, of course, we would expect these men to be going even faster into some of these corners. What are you expecting?
Yeah, the speeds are going to be higher. Maybe some of the risk taking is going to be greater. I hope we don't see any bad crashes. I hope we don't see any crashes. But I'm expecting maybe one or two.
But it's got to be inspirational, hasn't it, for Josh Tarling, who at the start of the day was perhaps arguably seen as a better medal hope than Anna Henderson, and he's only 20 years of age. He went to the Commonwealths age just 18, and here he is at the Olympic Games, only 2 years into his pro career, as a genuine medal contender.
Yeah, we could go one better. We could see our first gold medal
really?
In this. I really believe that he's got a really strong chance of bringing home a gold medal. And he's an incredible talent. And what's funny is I was reading an interview with him only this morning where he said something about, maybe he's going under the radar a little bit. And there was some comments underneath to say, oh, Josh, I think you're actually one of the favourites, mate. But it's nice that he thinks that. But no,
he himself has said, I am going to Paris to win. I mean, he's not lacking in, and it's really refreshing that, I think, to be honest with you, Hayley. He's going, I'm not there to make the numbers. I'm not talking about, hopefully I'll pick up a medal. I'm going to win.
Yeah, and that focus is what we see from these athletes who win the gold medals, right? They go in believing that they can win, because the mental side of it is, can be as important as the physical side sometimes. You have to believe, and you have to have that focus such that, on all of these hard training days that they have in the years before, that's what drives them forward, and that's what gets them out on the bike every day in whatever conditions, because they think that they can win these events.
Let's hear from him. Here is Josh Tarling.
I'm honoured to go, but I want to do well. You can't waste that many opportunities because it's every 4 years, so I want to try and win, and try and throw everything at it to win.
I don't sort of want this to come across as sort of flippant, but I mean, how have you done this? How have you turned yourself into one of the world's best time trialists at 20 years old?
Well, don't know really, mate. I'm always grumpy at home. I'm always tired, and I'm always grumpy. So, lots of long, grumpy, sore days at home.
What is it about the event that you enjoy? Because obviously I first met you when you're on the track, and obviously you've just done quite a major stage race. So there's a lot of other aspects to you as a cyclist, but what is it about the time trial that means you've really sort of focused on it at the moment?
It's not enjoyable. I don't like any of it, but no, I enjoy the processes of basically completing that course in the fastest time, not just from like a physical side, but from like which side of the road, where's the wind coming from, all the corners, and it's more of like a process than just a smash fest, if you get me.
What do you make of the course out there? Very flat, very central in Paris as well. Are you excited about the route they've got?
Yeah, it's super cool, I like the course in terms of riding, it's fast, it's hard, there's a few little grippy corners, and but with it being really central, it's proper cool, finishing one of the bridges across the river, and it's just cool, you can kind of imagine the crowds and stuff now. I've reconned it a few days ago, so yeah.
Apart from the fact he's grumpy and sleepy, which would, kind of, for any parent of a 20-year-old, they may recognise that pattern. Do you not
My
think?
husband recognises that in me as well,
Oh, is it a double whammy, being 20 but also being a cyclist?
And time trialist, I think. I mean, Britain is really well set up for time trialling. We are quite unique in that, and he has come from a background of doing a lot of these UK time trials week in, week out, and so, it's his bread and butter, it's what he's grown up doing, and he's just so well suited for it.
One other thing with him, he's 6'4". Is that height unusual for somebody doing this?
You know what? There's no absolute this is the best, because on this kind of course, power is going to be really important, but also aerodynamics. So actually some of the smaller guys like Remco Evenepoel, who goes off last, he's a bit smaller, his aerodynamic drag will be lower, but because he's smaller, he's never going to be able to produce the super high power that someone like Josh Tarling can. So, it's a balance of the different factors.
Okay, we'll be back with Jonathan and Hayley for the men's time trial throughout the course of the afternoon. We're also keeping an eye on what's going on in the canoeing and the kayaking today. It was good for Adam Burgess earlier, second in his first run, so that should send him in towards the final, which I think, John Akers, you said was Monday, did you?
Monday, the semi-finals and final are on Monday.
Semi-finals on Monday, right,
yeah.
Okay.
So they get 2 shots in the heat, so he's about to go out again. I actually just texted Adam Burgess' dad and said, will Adam be going again? He's got a good enough time to have a rest. And he said, 12,000 people, John, being beamed around the world to millions, he'll be going again. But right now we are watching Kimberly Woods of Great Britain, 28 from rugby, ranked 10 in the world, and off she goes. She is a real medal hope in the kayak, the K1 you might see it called. So she is sitting down with a double-ended paddle. The canoe is kneeling down with a single-ended paddle. She's through the reverse gate, the red one, and then through 2 sets of greens. Looks to be going well at the moment. Mintalova of Slovakia has just set the fastest time. This is heat 1 of qualifying, with the stand stretching up into the distance, into the sky behind. You get 2 penalty points if you clip a gate. She is penalty free so far as she limbos her way around an upstream gate, a red one, and then down and into the stopper with a splash and through a green and another green, ducking again Kimberly Woods. 43 seconds. We're about to see the first split to see how quick she's going as she's up into an upstream gate again. Nice turn from her. She's going well here, Kimberly Woods. She's up to another gate, and she's fastest, Kimberly Woods, at the moment, by half a second as she pushes the paddle off the side wall, off the concrete, as they've been doing so far in this event. And then she's sideways through a green gate, and then across the white water. The kayak almost disappears underneath her. Purple kayak and purple helmet, the Union Jacks on each end of the paddles, wearing the number 9. She ducks into the water. Oh, she's lost a bit of time there, Kimberly Woods, in that section. No penalty, just slow into that upstream gate. So she's got a bit of time to make up if she is going to be fastest in this heat. They get 2 goes at it here. Another duck under a green gate, and then she'll paddle hard and into the finish. Grimace on her face, Kimberly Woods. She made up a little bit of time. She's 5th at the moment, 1.64 seconds behind the leader after heat 1.
And as we can only do on 5 Live, let's go straight from the canoeing to the horse racing. Darren at Ascot.
The King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes, they've got 3 furlongs to go, and the new leader is Luxembourg. Hans Andersen made the early running, the pacemaker. Luxembourg has got the lead. Rebels Romance is coming there with a big run, and up the inside, the favourite Auguste Rodin is now being produced by Ryan Moore, heading down towards the 2 furlong mark, and it's Rebels Romance, Auguste Rodin, Goliath on the wide outside here for France, and the filly Blue Stocking. 4 of them now across the track as they head to the final furlong, and it is Goliath in front. Goliath now by a couple of lengths is a big price runner. Goliath the leader, leads by 2 lengths from his second place Blue Stocking. Rebels Romance third. Auguste Rodin is well beaten, and this will go to France. Christophe Soumillon, and Goliath goes on to win the King George. Second place goes to Blue Stocking, third Rebels Romance, fourth Sunway, and Auguste Rodin only 5th. It's another Auguste Rodin flop, but a big success here for French-based trainer Francis Henri Graffard and Christophe Soumillon. Goliath has won the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes.
Go to Edgbaston, Dan Norcross.
We've got 1 ball to go till tea, 273 for 7 England. There are only 9 runs now behind the West Indies. Good partnership developing between Chris Wokes, who has 21, and Jamie Smith, the new England wicketkeeper, who's 56 from 74. He's played some sumptuous shots. They're just slightly playing within themselves as they come towards tea. I've got Mark Ramprakash alongside me, former England batter, as Alzari Joseph comes in to bowl the last ball of the session, which is just dabbed into the offside for a single. So England will go to tea at 274 for 7, a deficit of just 8. I think we need to talk a little bit, though, about Alzari Joseph. I've gone and asked our scorer at TMS, Andy Zoltzman, about just how many runs he's conceding, the leader of the attack, and he's the second most expensive bowler of anybody in any series to have bowled as many overs as he has. And that's been part of the problem for the West Indies, hasn't it? A lack of pressure that they've been able to build.
Well, it's a startling statistic, really. And I did mention earlier, I was bumped into Curtly Ambrose this morning, and he was talking about his partnership with Courtney Walsh and how they were very aware that each end they're trying to build pressure on the batsman, and some days Kirtley would take the wickets and other days Courtney would take the wickets. Well, Azari Joseph is sort of 10 years into his West Indies career. You are looking for someone to progress, to take on the responsibility of setting the tone and being the leading bowler, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, he has sprayed the ball around. He's been short, full, he's bowled the ball on the leg side, and it's not really what the West Indies need at this time. So it's a shame from his point of view. We'd have thought he would quite enjoy bowling in English conditions, and it's actually been Jayden Seales who's kind of led the West Indies attack in this series.
It's been a good recovery from England, though. They were 54 for 5 earlier today, and then we've seen runs from the skipper, Stokes, runs from the former skipper, Joe Root, couldn't quite get to that 100, made it to 87, and now runs from Smith and Wokes. And England are in a position here where after tea, they could push on against a slightly tiring West Indies attack and get a significant lead.
Look, I've been really impressed with the way Jamie Smith's played, because he came in with Joe Root and he was quite aggressive early on. We saw him one enormous pull shot into the Hollis stand, but he's looked very composed since Joe Root's departure. Actually, he's sort of taken on the responsibility, and he's been very selective in his stroke play, and now that West Indies have pushed some men back on the boundary, he's taken the singles, and he's built a really nice partnership here with Wokes. So I think that's a really good. England have spoken about refinement, haven't they, in terms of their approach, and here we are actually seeing that the evidence of that, and if this partnership can continue, then England should get a healthy lead.
England 274 for 7 at tea, Wokes 21, Smith 57. That deficit now just 8, Chappers.
What they've done very well, Mark Ramprakash, just very quickly, England, in the last 2 tests, I suppose, is when they have been in a bit of trouble, they've got themselves out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that comes down to a mentality, and also the fact that this group of players have now played quite a lot of Test cricket, and they would understand that there are periods where England are on top, but equally the opposition have pushed back, and how do you cope with that? And Root and Stokes were very composed this morning when suddenly there was a flurry of wickets, in the way that they went about absorbing that pressure. But equally, they still had the mentality that if a bad ball came along, they took it, but they did it in a controlled way. And I think we've seen some more of that with Jamie Smith. Even though it's only his 3rd game, he's played in a very composed manner along with Chris Wokes.
Mark, thank you very much. Ball by Ball commentary continues on Sports Extra after tea. Let's focus back on the Olympics here in Paris. Opening day. Bronze for Team GB earlier in the 3-metre synchro springboard. In the diving, that came courtesy of Yasmin Harper and Scarlett Mew Jensen. And then this afternoon, Britain has picked up a silver in the women's road race time trial. It was with Anna Henderson, who afterwards spoke with Jill Douglas.
Anna, huge congratulations. What a fantastic performance. Olympic silver medalist. How does that sound?
I can't believe you're actually saying it. I really had a small feeling that maybe I could push for the podium and to be second behind somebody like Grace Brown. I can't believe it. I burst into tears when I found out. So all the effort this year has been worth it. I've broken my collarbone twice this year, and it's been a bit of a rough year. And to not end the season like this, but achieve a goal like this is unbelievable.
And to take that silver medal by a second, sitting on you, waiting to see if it was going to be bronze or silver.
Yeah, I missed the world's podium last year by 2 seconds, and I was like, this is not going to happen again. So I just kept pushing all the way to the line, and it was really horrible conditions out there today, so I'm really thankful that I could stay upright on my bike as well. And I was a bit of a grandma through the corners, but that paid off, and I used the power on the straights, and here I am.
It was a really measured ride, but just how cautious did you have to be given the conditions?
I kind of it's really strange. I kind of blacked out through the whole thing, but I think I was super cautious because I think a lot of girls had problems today, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy it paid off, so I can't say anything else.
Go get that medal.
Thank you. Can't wait.
British racing cyclist Hayley Simmons listening to that alongside Jonathan Overend as they are covering the men's time trial now. I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? She wasn't quite a grandma round the corners.
No, and I think she's doing herself a bit of a disservice as well, because she obviously said that other girls did have problems, but there were a lot of girls who didn't have problems, and she beat some top riders. She beat Demi Vollering, who I don't believe had a problem, who won Tour de France Femme, and could well win that again this year. So Anna beat some quality riders, but she she was sensible. She did what she needed to do to get a medal, and if that meant cornering a bit more slowly than normal, then credit to her, she did what she had to.
Tactical but still fast, and actually I suppose that's what the weather has done. It's brought in a bit more thinking that's had to be done today.
You know what, time trialling's a lot about thinking as well. The margins are so tight that you constantly need to be thinking about what pressures to run in your tyres for the width of the tyre, but also the road surface and the weather. And it was an extra consideration that had to be made this morning in terms of the equipment and how they set the equipment up. But then how you ride the course, because they've been reconning this course in dry conditions, so they will have been taking the corners at a completely different speed. So it was about adapting to what happened today and what weather they woke up to.
How many goes do you get at a course before you race it?
It really varies. Some courses that we see are such that you could just go out and ride them, any day. So Commonwealth Games in 2018, for example, a lot of that course that I raced in, a lot of that course you could actually just ride on a normal day. It's obviously not really possible in central Paris to just go charging up and
Trust
down.
Me, yesterday, Hayley, you couldn't get anywhere in central Paris, let alone ride a bike round it.
No, well, I went out this morning and got stopped by the gendarme and asked for ID. So even that was fun this morning. But yeah, so for something like this course in central Paris, they have to stick to the official kind of the official training kind of times that they're given, and even then you might not be able to practice everything at full race speed like you'll do on race day. So it's just about the experience of being confident in your bike handling and knowing that you can really tackle anything.
I think, Jonathan, the point Hayley made as well as regards Anna Henderson was it's not like she just, whatever the cycling equivalent is of tiptoed round and let everybody else fall off, and that's how she did it. She had to win that silver medal. She had to be aggressive where she needed to be aggressive.
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was a brilliant ride, and a story that's going to be hard to beat, certainly considering the way that the winner, Grace Brown, absolutely smashed the field, as we said earlier. And wouldn't it be amazing if Britain could also medal in this men's race as well? And who knows, as Hayley has this little premonition that maybe we can even upgrade and go for gold. We'll find out.
When does he go?
He goes at 4:15 your time, so he'll be off inside the next 25 minutes or so. Conditions still very bad, still very heavy rain out there on the course. There'll be 4 riders after him, Mark, including the race favourite, the Italian Filippo Ganna. So it'll be a bit like the Henderson situation in that he'll finish, and then if it's a good time, we'll have to wait and see and tick those riders off one by one to see if he makes the podium.
Do you know what? I think it's getting worse here in the cafe that I'm sitting outside of. But even just looking at the coverage, Hayley, and the rain marks and the water splashes on the cameras would imply that it's getting wetter and wetter. And just watching it, the number of other things that these riders have to take into account. I mean, you talked earlier about road markings and how that adds to the slippiness as well, the painted on pedestrian crossings and so on and so forth. But the crowds have grown over the course of the last hour. Half of them have got umbrellas up. The cyclists are trying to go as close to the railings as possible, aren't they, to take the shortest possible course. But you've got people hanging over those and with umbrellas, and it's wet, and you're trying to avoid the road markings.
Yeah, it's like
and go fast.
Yeah, just too many things to think about, aren't there, really? And you do see the unfortunate situation in the Tour de France where spectators unfortunately get a little bit too close to the riders and do clip them with bags or cameras or whatever. So hopefully we won't see any of that today. But it's also really difficult because, as you said, there's so much to think about. But remember, these guys are right on their limit from, almost just a couple of minutes in. So almost just being able to think straight is difficult. So then throwing in extra complications of, suddenly a spectator's dropped a water bottle over the barrier and it's just rolled across the road in front of me and now I need to avoid it. It's really difficult to react to that when you're, already kind of seeing red.
Hayley, Jonathan, for the moment, thank you. Half-time in Super League, Ian Chisnell.
And Salford have come from behind to turn it round and lead by 12 points to 6 at the break. Crucially, Ryan Brierley, smart move from the back of the scrum, so many these days, raced over on the right edge again. Sneed improved it to make it 12-6. Earlier, Castleford had led by Jason Garagari's try and Rowan Milne's conversion, but Nenny MacDonald on 25 minutes levelled it up, powering over. Sneed did the extras. MacDonald over again, no try, said the video referee, and cast down to 12. Liam Horn in the bin for 10 minutes on 33. But the try close to the break by Brierley leads Salford in at the break. They lead 12-6, a win mark. We'll see them fall.
Let's head from, here's a real contrast, and this is what we do on 5 Live. We're going to go from the rugby league there between Salford and Castleford to the dressage at Versailles. Sonia.
Don't you just love 5 Live sport?
I do, absolutely. Just set us up where we're at the moment.
I will. Well, we've had now, there are 64 horse and rider combinations taking part in the dressage phase of the eventing, and as we repeat, the eventing is the triathlon of the equestrian world. They all compete in dressage, which they're doing today. Then tomorrow it's the big round of cross country, and then they finish with a round of show jumping. So we've got 64 horse and rider combinations, 16 teams, and there are also 16 individual riders here who've qualified to take part at the Olympics, but the strength and depth of their particular nation means that they can't field a team. So we've currently just had the horse number 51 has just gone, and we have seen dressage of a really exceptional standard within the eventing here today, because we have had not only one Olympic record that was set by Laura Collette, then Michael Jung came along and went under the previous Olympic record as well. He is the great German rider who is a twice Olympic champion in the individual. So Laura Collette of Great Britain is out in gold medal position with that stunning mark of 17.50. You know, she'd ridden 389 tests at this level previously, and she has saved her very, very best for when it really matters, the Olympics. Michael Jung, the great German, sitting second, having also dipped under that Olympic record. He's sitting with 7.80, so just 0.3 behind Laura Collette. And then Chinese rider Alex Hua Tian with 22 penalties is currently sitting in third, but he's not in a team, he is an individual rider. Nicola Wilson is with us, as she has been all day, the Olympic silver medalist from London 2012. Just the standard today, Nicola, how impressed have you been?
It's been outstanding, and there's been personal bests just coming out left, right and centre. I mean, the horses are looking amazing. They are in fantastic form, and the tests have been just beautiful.
So it means at the minute that Tom McEwen of Great Britain, who was leading for much of the day, is currently now down in 8th. That is not by any means a disaster. At the moment, the top 3 nations are Germany, Australia, and now Ireland, actually. We expected the Germans to be really strong. Australia are another force in eventing, and the Irish are exceptionally good too. Now, the reason they are the top 3 currently, with Britain sitting in 9th, is because Ros Cantor has not been yet for Great Britain, the world number 1, and her impressive horse Lordship's Graffalo, or Walter to his mates. What are you expecting potentially, Nicola, from Ros?
Well, Ros she has just so steely. She is so focused. They have the most amazing partnership. They have won so much. She is the current European champion. She's been the world champion on another horse, and she's going for this title, both as a team, as an individual, and she is really on form. So expectations are really high. She'll be parking that to one side, focused on the job in hand, and hoping that she and Walter can deliver what she wants and what the rest of us want as well.
Walter's the nickname for the horse, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, just thought I'd better clear that up for people who wondered where Walter had come from.
So they have a posh name and then they have a stable name, because if they're in the field, which horses love spending time in the field, having their downtime, shouting "Lordship Gruffalo" across the field, it's a bit of a mouthful. So he has a bit of a stable name. It's much easier to shout, "Walter, come on, bedtime."
Let's hear from Ros Cantor, shall we? This is her first Olympics. She spoke to Sonia earlier about why the cross-country event might be the one that's concerning her.
I'm actually would hold my hand up and say I'm not particularly brave. The cross-country side of our sport is most of the time what people do it for. For me, I do it because I love training horses. I like jumping, I like doing everything, and I like winning. The actual riding at speed cross country is something I have to work extremely hard at. I've overcome some big mental challenges and barriers around it, and it's something that I spend a lot of time at home training for, both physically and mentally. So yeah, it's an ongoing challenge for me, but in a way it makes me more focused, and I'm able to bring out a great performance on big occasions because I understand how hard I have to work at it.
Can you just tell me a little bit about what those mental barriers have been for you, particularly with cross country?
Yeah, so I tend to, when you're coming into a fixed cross-country fence, I tend to want my horse to take off at the perfect takeoff spot. So there is that prime place where a horse would feel the most comfortable jumping from. And I feel the need to over-control that. So I try and do far too much for the horse. And in the process, sometimes I take, the initiative away from the horse, and also it wastes a lot of time. So I come back incurring time faults. So that's one thing I've really developed a system that I follow when I'm walking the courses, when I'm learning where I'm supposed to be going, all those things that I practice in my head when I'm using visualization, so that when I get out there, I'm able to get myself into a position, I'm effective in my riding position that enables my horse to be effective as well.
Really insightful and honest interview there. Bearing in mind what she said about the cross country, does that put added pressure on her going into the dressage, Nicola?
No, she'll be taking it very much one phase at a time. Today is obviously the dressage day. She will have a set procedure, a process, on how she's going to prepare for today's competition. And once she has done today, she will then mentally move on to phase 2. So she will just be dealing with the job in hand today, which is that dressage phase, and doing the very, very best that she can. Her and Walter can do.
Her and Walter, they go at 4:21, so 20 minutes time. We'll be back with Sonia and Nicola for that. Let's just round up the afternoon's canoeing/kayaking. John Akers.
Just watching the best in the world, ranked number 1, Jess Fox, complete her run, the Australian. She's second. She had a couple of little mistakes in there, but Prigent from France, you should have heard the noise. She's quickest at the moment in qualifying in the K1. It's the kayak, with Britain's Kimberly Woods settled really nicely, back in 8th position at the moment in qualifying. They've got another run to come, but even with that, she should be fine with that time of 97.31, Kimberly Woods, in the second run. And that's where we are. So she's second quickest, the world number 1 at the moment.
She looked slightly rueful at the end, didn't she, Kimberly Woods? And then saw some of her Team GB teammates applauding her and celebrating, and then we got a smile and a little heart symbol.
She saw Adam Burgess, who said well done and gave her a clap. They're all really tight, this GB team, in the whitewater events. She has really struggled, Kimberly Woods, in the past. She froze in the final in Tokyo. She's really quite hard on herself. She's had her battles with mental health in the past, says she's been close to taking her own life in the past, has self-harmed, but she's a real fighter. You should see her in the kayak cross. She's a scrapper. She's a street fighter. She won gold in the World Championships in that last year, and she is just a fighter, hard on herself, but a real fighter in this event.
Thank you very much, John Akers, across the canoeing and the kayaking for us at these Olympic Games in Paris. It is 3 minutes past 4 and time for a news update. Here's Alison Hughes.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Away from the Olympics, and the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says at least 30 people have been killed and more than 100 injured in an Israeli strike on a school in the territory housing displaced Palestinians. Israel's military says it was targeting a Hamas command and control centre embedded inside the building. The Rochdale MP, Paul Waugh, says the family of a man who was kicked and stamped on while being arrested at Manchester Airport are calling for calm. Mr Waugh says the family are asking people not to attend planned demonstrations this weekend. Police Scotland says 3 men in their early 20s have died and a woman's been injured in a car crash near Falkirk. The collision involved a white Ford Focus near Dunmore yesterday evening. Police are asking witnesses to contact them. The cinema chain Cineworld says it's closing 6 branches as part of a restructuring plan which could put hundreds of jobs at risk. The company says it will try to redeploy as many people as possible.
Hello and welcome back to the Football Daily podcast.
The Football Daily is being taken over.
Hello, it's Gary Lineker here. Me, Micah Richards and Alan Shearer will be taking over the Football Daily.
You might be thinking, what's Carl Walker doing here?
Joe Wilkinson here. Me and Patrick Bamford are taking over this Football Daily feed.
Hear the best of Match of the Day Top 10. You'll never beat Kyle Walker, My Mate's a Footballer, and more.
The Football Daily podcast.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Mark Chapman.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
Day 1 then of the Paris Olympics. Team GB are already in the medals. A silver for Anna Henderson in the women's road cycling time trial.
It's going to be so close. Henderson guaranteed a bronze, but will it be silver? Here comes Dygert. It's third. Henderson wins silver. What an achievement for Britain.
This morning there was a moment of history for Yasmin Harper and Scarlett Mew-Jensen.
It's going to be a bronze for Great Britain on day 1 of the Olympic Games in Paris. And it's going to be Britain's first ever female synchro diving medal.
Laura Collette has set a new Olympic record in the dressage. Adam Peaty's through to tonight's semi-finals of the 100-metre breaststroke, and GB's men's gymnasts are in a good position to qualify for both team and individual finals. You can also, as well as following all the action here on 5 Live, be across it on the BBC Sport website and check out some of the events on BBC One and on the iPlayer.
Paris 2024, the Olympic Games.
With Mark Chapman.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
I mean, they're the headlines as regards Team GB. The other big story out from the afternoon sport here is that the men's rugby sevens final, which is a 6:45 kickoff, will be between Fiji, the reigning champions, and the home nation France with Antoine Dupont. So that will be mouth-watering, and that will be at 6:45. Let's go back to the first medal for Team GB of Paris 2024. It came from Yasmin Harper and Scarlett Mew-Jensen in the women's synchronised 3-metre springboard final. They won bronze and then spoke to Jonathan Overend.
What was the pressure like delivering your dives today, but also, Scarlett, waiting for everyone else?
Oh my gosh, I haven't competed in a very long time, and for that to be my first event after a while was ridiculous. I was very, very shaky, but I knew I could trust in Yaz, and I knew I had to trust in myself, that I've done the dive so many times. But yeah, I mean, afterwards was also ridiculous. You know, we knew that, yeah, we needed a really good one, but we couldn't have done any more, you know, so you're sort of stood there helpless. But yeah, I mean, I can't really describe it.
Yasmin, there was an image of shock on your faces when Australia messed up their final dive, which is such a rarity at the highest level, isn't it? What was that moment like, that sort of realisation that you were in, basically?
Well, it's hard to describe because on our last dive, we did everything we could. So we stood there for a few minutes just waiting to see, like, we knew it was going to be really tight. And when the Australians failed to deliver on their final round, I think we were just in such shock because we kind of just thought that this was going to be a 4th place for us, but then for that to happen and to be coming away with the bronze medal is amazing.
We also PB'd as well, which is cool.
Yeah,
so.
We got a personal best today.
It's an amazing achievement and hopefully the start of a medal rush for the team. How much confidence do you think is that going to give everyone else who was watching, cheering, knitting away in the stands?
We've got such an incredible team with us here at this Olympics, as well as the last and a few before that, but I think we've definitely got the strongest team here this year, and I've got every faith in all of them to go out there and, you know, show what we're all made of and hopefully bring home some more silverware.
You have a little chink of the Eiffel Tower around your neck and it's embedded in your bronze medal. Fantastic. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yasmin Harper and Scarlett Mew Jensen with that bronze medal in the diving. Now, in the gymnastics today, it's all about qualifying, individual finals, and for the team final, GB's men went this morning, and it went well, Lewis Smith, didn't it? And now you're watching the second set of countries trying to qualify.
Yeah, it was all action today so far. The GB guys are in subdivision 1, and they managed to top that bill with America coming in second just behind them. And then in the subdivision 2 today, I tell you, Japan and China are in a fierce battle to top this qualification in first place. It's going either way. Japan are in front, then China, and they're really putting on a masterclass. But the GB guys currently are in good shape. We're still looking at Jake qualifying first in floor, Max second on pommels. We've got Harry still first position on vault. So there's still lots of finals to play for. We've still got Joe on the parallel bars and Joe's still in high bar, but it is a waiting game, especially with subdivision 3 just around the corner tonight as well.
So when you're watching this subdivision 2 and you're watching Japan and China and them slugging it out at the top here, with the idea being that they just qualify for the final, these points don't go through to the final, are they, as things stand, just how it all balances, are they ahead of Team GB?
We won't find out until the end of the next rotation. So we're on the penultimate rotation at the minute. We've got one more set of competition scores to get in, and then we will see the final standings at the end of subdivision 2. But at this point, it's almost like a psychology game. I mean, Japan and China are in a category of their own, and to be able to finish that qualification event with one team beating the other, I think it sets a tone when they move into the team final. So there's a lot of pride and a lot of mind games happening, and I think between those two, they really want to try and see who can qualify in that first position spot.
Max Whitlock, after this morning, has just talked about relief, basically. He said the relief is crazy. I had to wait a while to present that routine, so I was mega pleased. Of course, there's some increases I can make, some bits that I can clean up a little bit, difficulty and I can increase on, but it's a huge relief to come out and do it successfully. That's what these heats are, is it? It's just a relief to get through and be successful.
That's it, and I think for Max as well, he's in a very unique position of all eyes are on him, and there's that expectation for medals to follow, and he done incredibly well. I mean, Max is a veteran now of the gymnastics world, and he understands that sometimes TV makes you wait until they're ready for you, so he would have known that he needs to zone in and get his routine done, and that's what he did. And you know, we can always work on trying to get your toes right and get your feet in the right position, but I think getting through qualification event with a clean routine and giving yourself a run for that medal in the final is job complete for Max, and he should be very proud of himself.
Are they the kind of things that take you by surprise the first time you compete in something like this, an Olympics or a Worlds or whatever? What the demands of the increased attention, such as TV making you wait?
Yeah, these are all things that certainly me back in the day didn't know quite what to expect, because no one had done kind of these big major competitions before. But I think having someone like Max on the team, and as well as, you know, people like Joe Frazier, you can tell these younger guys, you know, like Luke and Harry, who are making their debuts, of what it's going to be like and what they might expect, and you know, having to wait for TV to catch up so you can start your routine is just part of competing at these big events.
Lewis, for the moment, thank you. Lewis Smith at the gymnastics for us this afternoon. Back to the men's time trial with Josh Tarling, a couple of minutes away from starting his bid for gold, Jonathan Overend.
Absolutely buoyed, I'm sure, marked by that silver medal for his teammate Anna Henderson. Josh Tarling, only 20 years of age, only 2 years into his professional cycling career, but already showing so much talent. Enough for people in cycling, not just in Britain, but around the world, I think, to mark him out as a future superstar of cycling. Hayley, he's got such a bright future, hasn't he? And will today be the day, do you think, that he propels his name into world consciousness?
I mean, I hope so, and I really believe he can. But, you know, we're talking about this, and he's only 20, so he's got so many more Olympic cycles in him. This is just the start, but he could win a gold medal at the age of 20 at his first Olympics.
Now we're seeing the first few finishers of the early starters. This is the men's timed trial, and uniquely and interestingly, they're following exactly the same course as the women, exactly the same distance. It's the first time that that's happened at the Olympic Games, and of course what that does mean, Hayley, is we're able to directly compare the times of some of these men with Grace Brown, for example, who won the women.
Yeah, so Grace Brown went sub 40 minutes. She was the only female to do so, and the first male finisher that we saw actually was slower than her. So took between 40 and 41 minutes, and so Grace Brown was actually faster than that first male finisher, which is actually quite incredible.
Phenomenal. On the course at the moment, just for Team Ireland, is Ryan Mullen. Interesting story. Ryan Mullen, born in Birkenhead, who grew up in Wales, riding at the Ross-on-Sea Cycling Club. Pretty sure Dave Brailsford started his cycling life out there as well. But Mullen in the Irish colours is on the course at the moment. 25 minutes 53 seconds through 22 kilometres. So he's on the final third of the course. To remind you, if you weren't with us earlier, this race on the streets of Paris, starting right in the city centre, heading out east towards the Bois de Vincennes, the big public park there around the velodrome that hosted the 1900 Olympics, and the hippodrome as well, the old racecourse there. As we look now at Josh Tarling, who is in the starting gate for Great Britain. He is number 5 for this race, all in navy blue with trim of red and a white cycle helmet, just as Anna Henderson was wearing earlier. He's down the ramp and he's out on the course, followed by the support vehicles that each rider has with spare bicycles on top. Tarling is underway, and he'll need to judge this race to perfection if he's going to get a medal and maybe gold, Hayley.
I was just thinking, you know, that was a very large number of spare bikes on that car roof, so I hope he doesn't need that many spare bikes. I hope
How
he doesn't
many are you
need
allowed?
any. Well, I think as many as they want to put on there, but
fit on the roof rack.
But you'd be in some trouble if you needed that many spare bikes. But no, genuinely, he has a really, really good shot of a gold medal, and he looked calm, he looked focused, he knows what he's doing, and I'm really excited to watch this ride.
So the main rivals, Filippo Ganna from Italy, who loves a fast course, doesn't he? How will he be feeling about these treacherous conditions today in the rain?
So actually, funnily, Josh Tarling and Filippo Ganna are teammates and very good friends. They room together, I think, quite a lot at their team races, so they know each other really well. But Filippo Ganna will love this course. It's fast, it's flat, and it really suits a really powerful rider like Ganna and like Tarling. So it could be quite close between them both.
Ganna, whose dad, Marco, competed in the canoe slalom at LA 1984. We've got Remco Evenepoel as well from Belgium, who is the world champion from 2023, those World Championships in Scotland, of course. He's the last to go, Hayley, so every chance that we're going to be talking a lot about him over the next half an hour.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Remco Evenepoel is he's just come out of the Tour de France, which neither Josh Tarling or Filippo Ganna have. So basically, he could either be going very, very well if he's had a good week of rest, or he could be quite fatigued. And I think we're only going to find out on the road to Paris.
Well, it's nice and idyllic out there on the west coast of Wales, and it will definitely be a standstill for the next half an hour or so as they cheer on their local lad, Josh Tarling, who grew up cycling around the car park of Shrewsbury Sports Village, Mark. So maybe if you're in your car, in the car park there now, waiting for the kids, that's where Olympic dreams are made.
I have to say, Hayley, I thought exactly the same thing when I saw that support vehicle go off with all those bikes on. Is there any... I mean, could they all have... bearing in mind you've talked about the tyre pressures, could they have slightly different tyre pressures, each bike?
No, what they'll do is they'll do
They're
the
all
tyre
identical.
pressure. They'll do the tyre pressure, almost last minute before the riders set off, because actually with, the different tyres that they're running, the tyre pressures can actually change within the space of a couple of hours, for example. So the tyre pressures will be something that's just done on their race bike before they set off. But no, it's unusual to see quite that many bikes on the top of a roof rack.
Yeah, the American has just gone off McNulty, and his support vehicle's got 2. Yeah.
I feel like Josh Tarling was being a bit greedy there.
Back for an update on Josh Tarling in a little while. Let's go back to Versailles, where Sonia McLaughlin were just a couple of minutes away from Ros Cantor getting her dressage underway.
We are just watching the Swedish rider at the moment, Louise Romecki. Her beautiful dapple grey has just now halted at L and put a few bucks in, did the grey horse. That shows resistance, which will be marked down by the judges. And we're very much hoping that when Lordship's Graffalo, Walter to his mates, as we were saying, enters the arena, there'll be none of that. It looks magnificent here, even though I'm still sitting in the puddle, and most of the crowd here have got their umbrellas up, and it is a grey, dreich day out at the Palace of Versailles that we can see. It still looks magnificent away to my right, and as well, just to my right as well, we've got some of the cross-country fences as we start a little bit to think about that discipline tomorrow. There's a water jump just to my right, and you think about the challenges that these horses face tomorrow. Nicola Wilson is with me, Olympic silver medalist from London 2012. I just wondered, that moment where the lady in the collecting arena, I saw her earlier, shouts 1 minute.
Yes.
Is that when the butterflies really kick in?
Absolutely. It's just trying to stay very much in your own bubble, very focused on the job in hand. She will have, Ros will have gone through her warm-up procedure. She will be very ready. She'll be watching the seconds go down, and she'll be keeping everything very much under control. They're such sensitive animals. They can really sense if you start to get nervous or anything like that, and Ros knows that only too well. She'll be staying very focused, very calm. An athlete can't perform at its best if the rider on top is a bit tense or nervous. That filters through to the horse's performance. So she's so well practiced at delivering in the arena, and she'll be using all her experience today.
And Ros Cantor, this diminutive figure at just 5'2", on top of this enormous horse in Lordship's Gruffalo, all 17 hands of him, this gorgeous bay gelding. He's beautifully plaited, his mane, his tail as well. He's got his ears forward. He's just in a little gentle canter as he starts to come to my right. He's going to come in at the marker A at the top of the arena, and he's going to come down the centre line, and I have to say, what a magnificent sight the pair of them look. Laura in her dark jacket as he transitions down to a very steady trot, and he has now got to the opposite end of the arena at marker C, and he's just turning right, and he is going to come on a diagonal across the arena at the extended trot when the horse throws out his front legs, and he does that beautifully, doesn't he, Nicola?
He does. It's such an elegant, confident start to the test. It really sort of says the whole picture, horse and rider, saying, look at me, harmony, relaxation, but elegance as well. And she started those first 2 movements. We're just seeing the marks between Laura, who is current leader, and Ros, and she was slightly ahead after the first few movements, but she's just dropped a couple of percentage now below. And just an unfortunate trip there as she went into her halt at C before that rein back.
She just now is doing the rein back, which is 5 paces when you ask the horse just to move backwards ever so slightly. And she turns right again to marker M, which is just in the bottom left-hand corner of the arena. And which movement is this now, Nicola?
She's moved from that half pass into the shoulder in, which is on the 3/4 line. So there isn't an outside track to run along. It's really it's testing precision, rideability, suppleness, and everything that's required for this phase, and also the jumping phases. It's all linked to the other 2 phases within the eventing disciplines.
She's on another diagonal now, which is just a gentle walk, which is obviously the lowest pace in dressage. It's just asking the horse to just take the reins a little bit, stretch his neck out, and that's again just showing that he's relaxed, he's listening to the rider, that the 2 of them are in perfect harmony as she heads towards her marker, which is at M, which means she's now going to turn left and just come in front of our 3 judges.
The walk's often very difficult, particularly for these really fit event horses, because they're ready to run around the cross-country course tomorrow, to run their marathon, and then you're expecting them just to walk and be really relaxed.
This is one of my favourites now across the diagonal. This is the flying changes, which are so difficult to do. Horses are sometimes naturally, when you're out riding them, just throw in a flying change themselves, and you think, oh, aren't I clever, we've just done a flying change. But it's so hard to do, isn't it, Nicola?
It is, and the first flying change was a really lovely one, but he just got a little bit muddled with his hind legs there in the second change, which will have been marked down, which was unfortunate.
Yes, and now he's doing the flying change in the different direction. He's coming onto the left-hand rein and is now coming down to the marker C, which is in the bottom left-hand corner of this arena. He's right in front of these 3 judges, which are sitting in what looks like their little sort of beach huts. They've got their roofs on. They're not getting wet. Now there's the extended canter along the long line to the far side of where I'm sitting, as she now turns right to come down the centre line, and then she will halt at the imaginary spot L. And she punches the air. Laura Collette, the reigning world number one.
Roz,
sorry. There's always, it's been too exciting.
It has.
Roz Cantor, the reigning world number 1. Now, what can she do? Of course, the challenge has been laid down, hasn't it, today by her fellow Brit in... Oh, and he just stops.
He's having a little scratch of his nose.
He just goes, you know what, I've done my job. I'm just going to just chill out now and scratch my knee, if you don't mind.
It was a lovely test. It was a lovely test, but there was just a few little bits that crept in there that may well have just brought her mark down from where she was praying and hoping it would be.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is sport, isn't it? And it's still a fabulous mark, but just probably not quite where she was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah, and that big screen, there's a huge big screen, even for someone of my sort of failing eyesight, can't fail to miss it. She's in 6th place individually with a mark of 23.3, but crucially for the British team, that has put them back into the gold medal position. They have an overall penalty marks of 66.6. They are comfortably ahead of the Germans, who are their big rivals here, on 74.10, and currently in 3rd it's United States on 88.9.
And Sonia, I also think that we just need to check this, but I also think that it is a team record finishing score in the dressage in the first phase as well. So not only has it been an individual dressage Olympic record, it's also a team record too.
And it's been that kind of day, Mark, for the British riders, with Laura Collette getting the Olympic record, and as it now looks like, the team have done it as well. It means they are in a very, very good stead as we look ahead to the cross-country phase tomorrow, where, as my instructors over the years have taught me, to expect the unexpected.
It has been a very, very good day overall, really, when you look at Team GB. Sonia, Nicola, thank you very much. So it's gone well for the eventers, it has gone well for the male gymnasts. 2 medals today so far. First time Britain has taken a medal on the opening day since Athens 2004. Bronze in the diving, silver in the women's time trial, Now, in the men's time trial, we talked about Josh Tarling and the number of bikes that went out on his support car, and he's needed one of them already, Jonathan Overend.
Yes, expect the unexpected, as Sonia says, in all sports. And here, terrible luck for Josh Tarling, a puncture as he headed out of the city centre, down by Bercy, in fact, where the gymnastics is taking place at the Bercy Arena, not too far from that, outside a brasserie, rather ironically called Le Repair. He needed to repair a puncture, except, as you say, no time for that. Just get a replacement bike on the course. But, oh, what bad luck, Hayley Simmons, for Josh Tarling. That set him back.
Yeah, I mean... Luckily, he hasn't come down. We've seen actually Magnus Sheffield, the American rider, has a torn shorts on his right-hand side, so he's obviously gone down. Josh Tarling had a flat front tyre from the looks of it. He got a very nice, clean bike change, got underway again quite well. So hopefully he's just staying calm, staying controlled, won't lose focus, and just will be able to settle back into that really strong rhythm that he looked to have before the issue.
The time to beat at the moment from the finishers in the clubhouse, so to speak. Matthias Vacek from Czech at 37 minutes 55.62 seconds. Ryan Mullen has finished for Ireland, 37 minutes 57.16 seconds. Now clearly those finishing times will come down as the faster, more fancied riders finish this 32.4 kilometre course, but we now just have to wait and see as Josh Tarling goes through the splits to see where his placing is going to be and how much that has set him back, as the rain, it has to be said, is absolutely deluging around the Bois de Vincennes to the east of the city. These are treacherous conditions for all these riders. How they're staying upright, let alone go upwards of 50 kilometres per hour, is something to behold. But what's your hunch on where Tarling may be, Hayley?
It's so difficult to tell, just because I think the margins, particularly between the top three men, are going to be so close that, you know, that could lose him a gold medal. But, you know, he looks focused, he looks controlled. All of them are out on course now, so we should hopefully get some intermediate time checks from the kind of three favourites very soon, and we'll get a good indication then of how much time Josh Tarling may or may not have lost.
I mean, he wasn't he? The first three splits, certainly that I saw on my screen, he was in the green numbers, i.e. that shows he's quicker than the previous leading person through that split. Once the change was made, he was into the red numbers and back a little bit.
Yeah, so he's actually just gone through the first checkpoint. He's in fourth place, so Wout van Aert is currently leading at that first intermediate check, and Josh Tarling is 3.6 seconds down, which is obviously a really small amount on Wout van Aert, but of course Josh Tarling started fifth from last, so he's got four very, very strong riders behind him, and of course the other two favourites, Remco Evenepoel and Filippo Ganna.
And actually, the cameras, Jonathan, have focused on both of those, the screen that I'm watching it on. I sense the organisers of the TV coverage, the director, thinks this could be a real bun fight to the end.
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. And it's hard, isn't it, with so many riders out there on the roads around the city at any one time. Great for the spectators, who, it has to be said, are absolutely packing out the streets and the parks and the bridges. They're absolutely loving this road cycling action, and they are herring around the corners still, despite the conditions. And it really is impressive the way that they're able to master those turns at such high speed. As Hayley says, Tarling through the first official split, which is at 13.1 kilometres in a time of 14 minutes 41.82 seconds. On the road, that means he's the fourth fastest through that particular split, but all could change, Hayley, at any moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I just mention Wout van Aert, who we just saw, the Belgian rider? We're seeing something actually very unusual with him. He's running a double disc. So obviously the riders will have a disc wheel on the back of their bike. Wout van Aert is actually riding one on the front as well, which we normally see on the track. But one was a double disc setup was run by Shara Gillow, an Australian female rider at the London Olympics. But it's very, very unusual to see that. But, you know, it's quite an exciting thing to see it in action at these Olympics.
I don't mean to be rude, but why?
Sorry.
That's
why would you or why wouldn't you?
No. Why would he have done that, and why is it exciting?
Right. Well, okay, so he would do it because it's faster. It is faster.
Right, okay.
The more surface area of your wheel is covered, the less drag it's going to present.
Sure.
So the faster it will be. However, you normally don't see it because the front wheel is the one that's most difficult to control if it's windy. So if there's any sort of wind to speak of, your bike will become very, very uncontrollable if you have a disc wheel on the front. So we see it on the track because obviously you don't get wind on an indoor velodrome. And the reason that we can see it, that he's running it today, is because the wind, despite the bad weather we've been speaking about, the wind is actually very low. So it's very favourable conditions to try something like running a front disc.
So is that... And bearing in mind, Hayley, I dropped physics before GCSE, right? So trying to get my head around this is proving a little bit of a stretch. And bearing in mind, GCSEs were a long time ago as well. But, right, so is that because if you didn't have a disc on the front wheel, the wind would go through it, but if the disc is on the front wheel, it buffets it, and it's already harder to control?
Yeah, so basically you're very unlikely to get a course where you've just got a complete, face-on wind, a headwind, or a complete tailwind. You're almost always going to have some sort of crosswind component. And as soon as you get crosswind hitting that completely solid surface, it's going to blow it a little bit from side to side. And obviously when you're sat on a bike, most of your weight's going through your bum, which is, holding the back wheel down, but you've only got a little bit of weight through your elbows, which is what's holding the front wheel down. So if you get a crosswind hitting the front wheel, it's going to blow you quite uncontrollably. So it makes the bike much less controllable. But if you've got almost no wind, which was forecast for today, then it could be worth taking the risk of running that double disc setup.
Did you make notes there, Jonathan?
I certainly did.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to not get too geeky
but sometimes we want it, Hayley, because we want to understand these things. Absolutely.
I have too much aerodynamic geekery that I can pull out at any moment.
You absolutely love it as well, don't you?
I do.
It's brilliant. All this geekery is fantastic. Yeah. And I tell you what, the significance of the last couple of minutes, Mark, on that checkpoint is that two of the riders who started after Tarling are slower than him through the first 13 kilometres. That's Brandon McNulty from the United States and Stefan Küng from Switzerland. So that's positive. He's had that stoppage, Tarling. He's dealt with the puncture. He's got back on his bike, but he's ahead on the road of two of the people who started after him.
And only 6 seconds down on Filippo Ganna, who has just gone through that first checkpoint. So Ganna's gone through fastest in 14:35 and Josh Tarling in 14:41. So despite the stoppage, Tarling is right up there.
But Evenepoel still has to go through that first checkpoint.
Yes?
He does,
yeah.
absolutely.
And he to me, look, with only one disc, looks like he's motoring.
Yeah, he's coming up to the checkpoint now, in fact, and it'll all be eyes on the time. As you said, Mark, green and red, and he's very much in the green. Evenepoel, 7.41 seconds ahead of Filippo Ganna. So it's Evenepoel for Belgium, who looks in prime position. Ganna for Italy, and then the man that Tarling's going to be eyeing up is Lucas Plapp from Australia, who was just ahead of him at that 13k checkpoint. We'll next get official figures through at the 22k mark. Before that, we'll get some unofficial figures for the benefit of the TV audience, but certainly Tarling, we would estimate 4th or 5th at the moment, but with the potential to certainly nick a medal.
Let's take you from the technical complexities of the time trial to just some running, bashing rugby league. Ian Chisnell.
And the score is seesawing for fun here. 12-6 Salford at the break. That suddenly became 16-12 to Castleford. Two tries, Gary and Eli El Kazoum. Milnes converting one of them. And then right on the hour, Ethan Ryan, an interception, 80-metre sprint. He touched down, and Mark Sneed has added the extras. We've got 16 to go. You wouldn't put a lot of money where these Super League points are going. It's Salford 18, Castleford 16.
To the test match, Dan Norcross.
Where Jamie Smith has just smoked a glorious 4, pulled one through mid-wicket. England are 291 for 7. They now have a lead of 9. This partnership between Chris Woakes and Jamie Smith has put on now 58. I've got Mark Ramprakash alongside me, and you sense if the West Indies don't break this partnership soon, we could be in for a little bit of carnage here, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Problems for the West Indies. There's still 35 overs remaining in the day, so it's going to be a long last session for them. They've started after tea. I can understand why they've gone with Jayden Seales. He's been the pick of the bowlers. Alzari Joseph, not such a great day for him. It just strikes me, but the left-arm spinner Moti, he needs to be bowling, really. The ball is 61, 62 overs old. It's not really a lot happening for the fast bowlers. And it feels like they're not bowling him because they're a bit worried that he might be expensive. But the fact is, I think you have to bowl him and back him. Perhaps, have some in-out fields, a couple of scouts on the boundary. And if England want to take him on, well, OK, there may be risk involved. But at the moment, West Indies plugging away with their seamers, but they're not really getting much response from the pitch or in the air.
We did have a little bit of a break for rain, which is why England's score is not as large as you think it might have been. Another glorious 4 from Smith, who's really unfurling some splendid shots off the back foot now. That's taken him to 69. Don't forget, this is just his 3rd test match. He's yet to get a century, and Mark, getting 100 early on in your test career is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, what a hurdle to jump if he could do that. And he's looked so composed at the crease. He's a good back foot player. He's just played there a really good hook shot off Alzari Joseph, who's bowling sort of mid-80s, and it's a well-controlled shot. And that's been a feature of the batting that we've seen so far in international cricket. Whenever a player moves up to play in international cricket, they're likely to face quick bowling and be tested on the back foot. And so far, Jamie Smith has been absolutely equal to any challenge that he's faced. And as he pulls again, another terrific shot off Alzari Joseph. This one not as short as the previous one, pulled powerfully through mid-on, which is really sending a message to the bowler that look, you're not bowling that quickly at the moment. So he moves on nicely to 73.
Yep, things could get really fun here. Chappers 299 for 7. England's lead is 17. Smith has 73. Woakes has 30.
Sports Extra, of course, if you want to listen to ball-by-ball coverage of the cricket. So we're keeping an eye on the men's time trial with Josh Tarling in that. We're also keeping an eye on the canoeing. Adam Burgess's first run left him in second, which should be good enough to already go through to Monday's semi-finals, John Akers, but he's going to go again.
He's going to go again because it's practice on the water on this course in Vers-sur-Marne, which was built in 2019, the Nautical Stadium. It's where they're holding the rowing as well. And I've got to say, it's a terrific course they've set up. And the stands are huge, 12,000 people packed in. We're just watching Rohan of the Czech Republic on his run at the moment. Guestin of France is still quickest. He's on home water. The world number 1 didn't go very well, the Slovenian Savsek, in his first run, but Adam Burgess went down really clean, and he'll want to get as much time on the water as possible, Adam Burgess, in front of this brilliant crowd as well, for practice.
Let me just give you the standings for the men's time trial at 22 kilometres. These are obviously for the riders who have gone through that checkpoint, so there are still some behind Josh Tarling to come, but he is in second out of all the men who've gone through that checkpoint. There are still a few behind him. I think there are 4 men behind him. So we're still waiting for Adam Burgess, and he will start very shortly.
Yeah, very shortly indeed. We're just watching Rohan come to the end of his run now. Just a reminder that we've also seen Kimberly Woods in the K1, so that's the kayak, that's sitting down, double-ended paddle. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what K1 and C1 mean, and C1 is canoe, which is what Adam Burgess is going in. That's kneeling down with a single paddle with the T-bar at the top, and you switch from side to side. So we're about to see Adam Burgess take on his second run.
The crowds are huge.
Massive.
We keep saying the weather is terrible here in Paris and the surrounding regions this afternoon, but the crowds are huge at the canoeing. And interestingly, Adam Burgess, as part of his preparation for these Olympics, trained in headphones to replicate the crowd noise, because of course in the last Olympics, John, there weren't crowds. So when he competed last time and finished just outside the medals, it was in silence.
Yeah, and the World Cup events, although they are well supported, it's nothing like this. Adam Burgess will never have experienced anything like this, and he's away for his second run. Adam Burgess from Stoke-on-Trent came fourth in the Tokyo Olympics. Agonisingly would love to be on the podium. He started really well. You get a penalty if you clip a gate. Poles suspended on wires above this white water, which is crashing all around him, and he's got a penalty on his second run. The nose of his canoe just tipped up and flicked one of the poles as he goes sideways through another green gate. So he's unlikely to better his 90.87 seconds. That was almost a second behind Nicolas Guestin of France on his home track, if you like, on home water, who paddled brilliantly in the first heat. But he's going through a reverse gate now, Burgess, round it. He'll be frustrated with that, but he knows he's already qualified. So this is all about getting some time in the water now and getting used to the different undulations, the way the water, the stoppers and the eddies, the way that the water flows around him as he goes through another green gate. The boat disappears underneath him, his grey carbon fibre canoe, as he paddles hard with the canoe down to his left and then through another green and over to the left to just bob his head round another and sideways through another gate. Adam Burgess now a reverse. He's picked up 2 penalties at the 5th gate and the 14th, so that's 2 seconds per gate. If you miss a gate, it's 50 seconds. He paddles hard, it's not going to matter. He's still done 95.08 with those penalties, so he qualifies comfortably based on his first run. Adam Burgess, he waves to the crowd, waves to the camera and points his finger in the air. He absolutely loved that in front of these very wet fans.
Thank you, John. There were 3 British fans there who looked like they were by a British seaside resort on a wet November afternoon, who just were roused at the end and waved the flag as Adam Burgess finished. Back to the men's time trial with Josh Tarling in a good position, Jonathan Overend.
Building towards a finale on the streets of the French capital, Mark. The men's time trial after Anna Henderson won a silver for Great Britain. The women's time trial earlier. Josh Tarling suffered a puncture in the first third of the race out on the streets of eastern Paris, but he's recovered well and he's in contention. But we've seen a brilliant time set by Wout van Aert from Belgium, Hayley Simmons. He is the guy to beat at the moment, Van Aert.
Yeah, that physics lesson is coming in useful, because Filippo Ganna, who was spoken about as one of the pre-race favourites for gold medal, has just gone through that second checkpoint slower than Van Aert, which nobody really expected Van Aert to be up there in the medals. We spoke about, the top 3 favourites being, way above the rest of the field, and Wout van Aert has really pulled something out of the bag in this race.
So Filippo Ganna is slightly quicker than Tarling by about a second and a half, but Tarling is definitely in contention. The top place rider, i.e. the guy who went out last, Remco Evenepoel, has 11 kilometres to go, and he is looking slick. He is looking fast. They've come out of the Bois de Vincennes and they're heading back towards the streets of Paris. He is just quicker than Van Aert, but this is extraordinary, really, that the Belgians should be almost fighting one another at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've both come out of the Tour de France for their respective teams. So, it was unclear whether they'd be going very, very well or just be incredibly fatigued. And it looks as though they've rested up well. The Tour de France only finished last weekend. There was a time trial on the final day. Remco Evenepoel was third that day. Neither of the top 2 riders are racing today from the Tour de France. And yeah, he's clearly, he said he wasn't sure how his legs were going to be, but clearly they are good today.
OK, so Evenepoel has come through the 22-kilometre checkpoint as the fastest on the road, ahead of Filippo Ganna by a good 15 seconds. It's a healthy lead he has, but Josh Tarling on the road is the 3rd quickest at the moment, so every chance Tarling can sneak into the medals, and with a big finish, who knows, he might even do better. Oh, a little slip from Ganna! Filippo Ganna almost up against the railings. In fact, I'm sure his back back wheel did touch the railings there as he tried to move off the cobbles. It's a really intricate section of the course, those cobbles there leading away from the Bois de Vincennes. He tried to get onto the smooth track, the pathway to the right, and he's slipped and collided with that. He stayed on two wheels, Hayley, but only just.
There are just so many things that you need to think about. When you're right on the limit, it's so difficult, Mark, obviously you mentioned about the umbrellas sticking over the side of the barriers, but actually one of the more dangerous things can actually be the feet of the barriers themselves. They stick out a bit further, and with riders taking corners, for example, just using every inch of the road, they can just clip one of the edges of those barriers, and that can be it.
So this is going to be really tight once again. Evenepoel from Belgium looks good on the road. There is a situation that we haven't mentioned yet on the bridge, the finishing bridge, which is called the hot seat. Now, I love this. The top three have to sit on their seats as per their current medal position, and as they're overtaken, they have to get up and they get ejected. It feels like Graham Norton's big red chair almost, but far from being flung into the Seine, they just have to leave. The next person comes in, so you see who is in the current gold medal position, and that's Wout van Aert from Belgium. As things stand, Switzerland second, Bischiger and Chapman for Germany in third, but all that is going to change as the fastest riders come through in the next few minutes, and Josh Tarling is not too far away. Tobias Foss from Norway coming onto the bridge once more, and we get a look at this little uphill section onto the finishing straight, through the puddles and over the line for Foss. It's a dramatic finish on the Pont Alexandre III in front of Hotel de l'Invalide, right in the centre of the city of Paris in the pouring rain. Hayley.
Yeah, so at checkpoint 2, Filippo Ganna was only 2 seconds ahead of Josh Tarling, but that was before we saw him have that little mishap, that little slip, and that slip can be those 2 seconds, absolutely no problem. So, Josh Tarling could put himself back in medal contention here.
So Tarling now is back towards the city centre streets, and it's a wonderful finish. He's only got 2.5 kilometres to go, Tarling, so he's on the Boulevard Saint-Germain, the famous boulevard on the south bank of Paris, running parallel to the River Seine, the buzzing heart of Cultural Palace, the home of writers, artists and philosophers over the years. But he's just head down, powering for home right now, Josh Tarling. His time, as things stand, 34 minutes and 20 seconds. It's going to be tight, but I think he can do it, certainly, to take the lead on the bridge. It's whether he can make up ground on those behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. The margins are so tight, and Remco Evenepoel at this point looks as though, barring any incident, he could well have the gold medal. But I think the battle is really going to be between Van Aert, Ganna and Tarling, and one of them is going to miss out on a medal.
And those who went off after Tarling, directly after, Brandon McNulty and Stefan Kung, appear out of it. On the road, they appear, certainly on the last checkpoint, to be too far behind. So it does look like there's 3 medals between 4 riders. As things stand, 2 of them from Belgium, 1 from Italy, and 1 from Great Britain. And they are powering down the Boulevard Saint-Germain once more. The umbrellas are out. The rain is pouring harder than it has done today on another miserable Paris day, but these riders are absolutely steaming at more than 50 kilometres per hour, and they're whizzing past these spectators. If you've got a camera phone out to take a picture, well, I'm afraid you're going to miss them, or it's just going to be a blur at best. Evenepoel looks like he is on course for gold, and then it's anyone's guess as to whether it's going to be Ganna, Tarling for Britain, or Van Aert, who is sitting patiently on the bridge. In golfing terms, he has the clubhouse lead after his brilliant ride from earlier. For him, it's now a waiting game. His time, 36 minutes, 37.79 seconds. Oliveira comes round the bend to complete his course. That's Nelson Oliveira from Portugal. We get an idea of the time. Well, he's at least a minute down on the leader, so he's third in terms of the finishers, but that's not going to trouble the overall standings. So on the road right now, we only have 6 riders. Lucas Plapp, who made an excellent start to the race, has not finished. So he's come down. He's had problems as Josh Tarling swings round past the Musée d'Orsay and on to Pont Alexandre 3. Josh Tarling, can he take the lead? No, he's just missed out by 2 seconds from Wout van Aert. So he is the second fastest finisher, Josh Tarling, but it will not be gold. And now he has to wait to see how many might get beyond him. There's a chance he might pinch the bronze medal, but it certainly won't be gold. And it seems unlikely now that it will be silver. And reality is, Hayley Simmons, he might just finish in the unluckiest place of all, 4th.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. That was the bike change. 2 seconds, more than 2 seconds was that bike change. That is absolutely heartbreaking for Josh Tarling. I mean, an incredible ride by Wout van Aert, who came into this saying that he didn't really expect anything from the time trial. Whether he was playing down his chances, I don't know.
So Remco Evenepoel is on the track, the Belgian, who is trying to beat his teammate. He is coming past the Musée d'Orsay now, and in a moment he's just going to do a little turn left, and then the bridge will appear in the distance. Will it be... Well, could it be gold and silver for Belgium in the men's time trial? The man who can stop them is Filippo Ganna from Italy, former world champion, who started in many people's eyes as the favourite, but he's still got 2.9 kilometres to go. He's still some way down the Boulevard Saint-Germain, and he's powering through, but it does look like he's hit perhaps a little bit of a wall there. Is he going as fast as you would expect, Hayley?
No, I think Remco looks decidedly more in control. He looks smoother. I wonder if the fact that Filippo Ganna is also doing some of the track events, whether maybe that's hampered his time trial a little bit. You know, the track events that Ganna will be focusing on are a bit shorter. I don't think he's got this.
Well, that might let in Josh Tarling for bronze. There might be a medal after all if Ganna starts slowing down to preserve himself for competitions later in the Olympic Games. Tarling, as things stands, looks on course for 4th, but it could be bronze. It all depends on the next couple of minutes. Bronze and silver for Team GB on this opening day of competition. We're riding with Remco Evenepoel from Belgium at the moment, who was the lead rider. He was the last to go off from the Pont Alexandre 3, and where will he finish when he returns to the bridge in the next couple of moments? He's going to swing round to the right, and the bridge is there with its famous winged horses, this ornate bridge over the River Seine. He goes south to north away from the Hotel Invalides. Kung is from Switzerland, who is going to finish a minute or so behind Van Aert, the leader. That was Kuhn, I beg your pardon, rather than Evenepoel, just a little bit ahead of ourselves. So Kuhn will not be troubling the scorers, and he is another rider out of contention. So it still is 4 from 3. 3 medals from 4 riders, and one of them is Josh Tarling from Great Britain, the 20-year-old rider who is only 2 years into his professional career. He has finished. He is sitting on the bridge. Filippo Ganna at the moment from Italy, through the rain, is coming towards the finish. And this is anyone's guess how this is going to shake down, Hayley.
Ganna's sped up again. I thought he looked as though maybe he'd stalled a bit, but you know, the numbers are green, the splits are green. He's currently up on Wout van Aert, and the margin he's put into Van Aert's time in the 1.6 kilometres between 30 and 31.6 is huge.
Well, here comes the United States rider, Brandon McNulty, and he's 38 seconds down on the leader, who remains Wout van Aert, who finished an awful long time ago. An incredible run from him, and he remains on that hot seat in the gold medal position. But will it be his compatriot Evenepoel, or will it be Ganna who will overtake him? At the moment, Josh Tarling remains in the silver medal position as Ganna, here he comes, round the corner, he's up, Ganna is up, he's going to head for the gold medal position it seems, he's onto the bridge, he's going uphill, he's got a smile on his face, and he's going to take the lead. So that's Filippo Ganna from Italy, 10 seconds better than Wout van Aert, who slips into the silver medal position. What a finish that was, because we thought he might have been done saving himself, but he was just holding off for that sprint finish, and what a performance that is from the Italian. He is now sitting in the gold medal position. Josh Tarling is pushed down to bronze, so it now all hinges on the other Belgian on the course, Remco Evenepoel. And of course, were he to finish in the top 3, that would push Tarling out of the medals, and you have to say that's highly likely. Here comes Evenepoel. He's got the Grand Palais in the distance. It's hosting the fencing and the taekwondo. And then Pont Alexander III emerges. And the spectators, they're waving their Belgian flags all around. There's a flag of Switzerland as well, but it's Belgium, Belgium, Belgium right now as Evenepoel enters the closing stages, powering towards home. He's got 30 seconds to beat Ghana, and I think he's going to do it by some substantial distance. Tarling is going to miss out. Evenepoel has 20 seconds to make the finishing line, and he's going to do it in style. Belgium win gold and bronze at the men's time trial, and it's Remco Evenepoel who claims top spot. A fantastic ride. Filippo Ganna wins the silver for Italy, and it's heartbreaking for Josh Tarling, whose puncture in the early stages cost him and edges himself out of the medals by just 2 seconds.
I mean, how exciting was that finish, firstly? It was incredible, but it's heartbreaking. 2 seconds, and it was that puncture, but that's cycling. It's such a cruel sport sometimes. Yeah, and you know, Josh will be thinking about that for a while, I would imagine.
Well, it's fine margins and luck, isn't it? At elite sport, wherever you are at, you need a little bit of luck, and it's fine margins, and that was that in that having to change his bike.
You've got 32.5 kilometres of road, and you could hit a tiny little bit of glass that's, you know, on the road from one of the cafes or the bars that's been there from the night before, and that's it. That's your Olympic hopes, dreams over for 4 years, and it's heartbreaking. I mean, you know, for him, it's only the start. You know, he's already European champion. He's got many more Olympics in him. But, you know, it's harsh when something like that happens and the result is that you miss out on a medal by 2 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, we've had plenty of examples today of people who've had heartbreak in other Olympics. We were talking about Adam Burgess in the canoe slalom. He finished 4th in Tokyo and has tried to use the 0.16 seconds that he missed out on a medal from to fire him over the last 3 years. Ros Cantor, travelling reserve in Tokyo, part of the eventing team, didn't actually participate in it when her teammates won the gold and is now back at this Olympics. That, at 20 years old, as you say, there are going to be plenty more opportunities. Those fine margins is what he has to do to fire himself up going forward.
Yeah, and you know what I love? There was a quote from Grace Brown after the women's time trial, who finished 4th in the last Olympics, and with a very close margin. And she said that she came 4th and she believed that she could do it in Paris. And not only did she win, she won emphatically, and it could have been one of the greatest female time trialing performances we've ever seen. So, you know, sometimes that heartbreak can lead to extraordinary things.
The bigger picture as well, Jonathan, here, you know, obviously we're focusing on Josh Tarling, understandably. That was a great race.
It really was. It really was. And, you know, 4 into 3 doesn't go, does it? And Tarling was the man who misses out on this occasion. But as Hayley says, there'll be many, many more opportunities for him. He's only just beginning, and I think it's going to be an exciting ride, isn't it, following his story over the next few years.
We obviously the winner is Remco Evenepoel. We talked about, or we didn't really talk about Wout van Aert at all, and I'm just looking through some of his facts and stats and so on and so forth. Go back to the end of March, he fractured 7 ribs, his collarbone and a breastbone. And I mean, injuries have been a theme of talking about various cyclists during this time trial. But I mean, even to come back from that so quickly, I mean, I know they're tough and everything, but goodness me.
It seems to have been a season, both on the men's and the women's side, fraught with quite bad crashes. You know, you've got, for example, Marlon Reusser, one of the Swiss females, isn't at this Olympics. She would have gone in as one of the favourites, but she basically has had a series of illnesses and infections following, you know, difficulties and crashes that she had in the spring. It seems to have really marred some of the riders' preparations. And Van Aert, he also raced the Tour de France, and he crashed on one of the early stages in that race. So it is a hazard of the sport, but it does seem to have been quite rife this year, actually.
And as the only one of the three of us who puts herself through this pain and this intensity, would you say that Felipe Gano was smiling as he crossed the finishing line, or was it more of a grimace?
Probably half and half.
Thank God that's over.
Yeah, time trialling is a unique thing, and it's one of those. It's called the race of truth because, you know, the strongest rider on the day normally comes out on top, and it's about pushing yourself to the absolute max for the duration of the course. And they're going to have been in a world of pain, and the relief when it finishes is obviously quite great, but he crossed over the line knowing that he'd made up quite a big deficit and managed to put himself, well, into the lead at that point, and then, you know, obviously into the ultimate silver medal position.
Despite clipping the railings.
Railings.
He did well to stay on there, didn't he?
He really did.
Oh.
And of course, you know, small margins. If he'd have slid just a tiny fraction more and come off, that probably would have been the difference between him slipping down and Tarling getting a medal.
Yeah, it's all tight margins. Everything in, particularly time trialling, the margins are so small.
Brilliant to have you with us, Hayley. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon. Jonathan, where are you off to next as the voice of success today?
The pub.
Good first day. Jonathan, Hayley, for the moment, thank you very much. Full-time in Super League, Ian Chisnell.
Salford sit fourth in Super League tonight, having just enough to see off battling Castleford in a points fest. 30-22 it finished, with 3 of Salford's 5 tries coming with the Tigers down to 12 men. MacDonald and Brierley crossed after the first of Gary's brace for Cass, who wiped out the 12-6 half-time deficit with tries from Gary again and El Kazoum. But Ryan, Partington and Hankinson went over to seal the win. Johnson's late reply, a mere consolation. Salford Red Devils 30, Castleford Tigers 22.
4 minutes past 5 on the opening day of the 2024 Olympics. It's time for the latest BBC News.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Hamas officials say at least 30 Palestinians have been killed by an Israeli airstrike on a school in central Gaza, which was housing people who had to leave their homes because of the fighting. Israel says the school was being used by Hamas to store weapons and plan attacks. The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, could announce on Monday that some new road and hospital infrastructure projects will be delayed. The government says it's an attempt to fill a black hole in the public finances left by the Conservatives. With 100 days to go until the US presidential election, Donald Trump and his likely rival, Kamala Harris, are appearing at campaign events. At a Christian conference in Florida last night, Mr. Trump called Ms. Harris the most far-left vice president in American history. Her spokesman called Mr. Trump's speech the bizarre and backward-looking delusions of a criminal. And the Cineworld chain is shutting 6 cinemas around the UK, putting hundreds of jobs at risk. The company says it'll try to redeploy as many people as possible.
He is Brian Cox. Hello. And he understands science. I'm Robin Ince, and I don't understand it quite so much. Could it tell us something about the nature of matter?
No.
OK, good.
Together, we'll be joined by a collection of expert and non-expert guests.
What's going on? Don't worry. Taking a look at some of the most wonderful things in the scientific world.
Science with funny bits. The Infinite Monkey Cage on Radio 4 and BBC Sounds.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Mark Chapman.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
It's day one of Paris 2024. Team GB already in the medals. Anna Henderson winning silver in the women's road cycling time trial.
It's going to be so close. Henderson guaranteed a bronze, but will it be silver? Here comes Dygert. It's third. Henderson wins silver. What an achievement for Britain.
And there's history for the divers, Yasmin Harper and Scarlett Mew-Jensen.
It's going to be a bronze for Great Britain on day one of the Olympic Games in Paris. And it's going to be Britain's first ever female synchro diving medal.
Laura Collette has set a new Olympic record in the eventing. Dressage, Adam Peaty through to the semi-finals in the 100 metres breaststroke. And we are set for what could be a classic gold medal match in the men's rugby sevens. Host nation France take on Fiji, and that is at 6:45 this evening. We'll have full commentary of that. You can also follow the action from here in Paris on the BBC Sport website, on BBC One and on the iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sports and the Olympic Games
With Mark Chapman.
on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
Try and wrap up everything that's happened today in the next 50 minutes or so, and then we'll join Kelly, who will be based at the swimming this evening, where you'll get that Adam Peaty semi-final. You'll also get the massive race in the women's 400 metres free between Ledecky and Titmus and McIntosh, 3 women who have the top 10 fastest times ever at that distance between them. So that is the big race tonight. Before we hear from Britain's medalists today, let's go to John Akers, who can just update us with all things to do with the canoeing and the kayaking.
Yeah, they're still dancing and singing in the rain, the fans at the Versailles Nautical Stadium. It is a terrific atmosphere, 12,000 fans. Let me tell you what's happening in the men's C1 first of all. This is canoe, it's kneeling, it's one paddle. Adam Burgess, Britain's great medal hope in this one, and Adam has gone really well and qualified second from the heats. He's 2 seconds behind the leader Nicolas Guestin of France, though, who sent down a real statement run in his second run, knocked a second off his first run. So Adam Burgess second quickest, but 2 seconds behind. He's the one to beat at the moment on home water, and we're about to watch Kimberly Woods go in her second run in the second heat of the kayak, the K1, that sitting down double-ended paddle. She was 10th fastest first time. She won't be happy with that. She's going to be looking to better that in the next 45 minutes.
Thank you, John. The rain is just incessant here in Paris today as it held off at Edgbaston. Dan Norcross.
Yes, we've got really lucky. We had a little bit of rain during the lunch break and then the tea break, so we're going to have a slightly extended day today. We've got to make up 20 minutes, so we'll be finishing around 10 to 7. But England are having a terrific day. They're now 337 for 7. It started so badly. They were 54 for 5 when Harry Brook was out for 2 in just the 4th over of the day. That after Ollie Pope had played on in the 3rd over of the day. And we're now watching a partnership of 106 unbroken so far between Chris Wokes and Jamie Smith. Jamie Smith playing just his 3rd test match, a slightly controversial selection perhaps, coming in as the wicketkeeper in place of his teammate Ben Folkes. He's 95 not out, and he's just been bowled as I speak. A ball that's kept low, short. He went for the pull, it got under his bat, it's clipped the off stump, and Jamie Smith is not going to get that 100. It's been a terrific knock. 109 balls, 95 he's got to go for. He'll be hugely disappointed, but Shamar Joseph has just got one. I think he's actually bowled for that. He's slight off cutter there. He's taken a bit of the pace off, deceived Smith, and he's going to rapturous applause because he has played some wonderful shots off both front and back foot, all sides of the ground. He's raising his bat to the crowd. It completes what has been a superb partnership, or ends it at any rate, of 106 between him and Chris Wokes. Mark Rabrakash is alongside me. Let's sum up that innings for us.
Well, it was a super knock. It really was just exactly what England needed, given the situation of the match. When he first arrived at the crease, Joe Root was at the other end, and I wondered how Smith might play, but he was pretty proactive and busy, hit some great shots, a particularly powerful pull shot into the Holly stand. And then, of course, when Root departed, he sort of played a little bit more within himself, but his shot selection was excellent. We spoke about often when players come from county cricket into the international arena, they are tested on the back foot against quick bowling, and he was today, and he had all the answers. He plays very powerfully and well balanced shots, attacking shots off the back foot, which were a feature of his batting today. Look, it was good conditions, and the West Indian attack sort of wilted a little bit as the ball wasn't really doing much off the pitch and in the air. But he looked very composed, considering it was only his third game. He looked like it'd been his 103rd game. That's how well he played. So, England have got a real find here. I think Jamie Smith has got a very high ceiling, and he looks a player who can play all formats for England, so it's really encouraging.
He's been replaced by his Surrey teammate Gus Atkinson, who's walked out to bat with Chris Wokes, and England have a lead now of 55. It's not a huge lead, it's not a match-winning lead by any means. They'll want to extend that to as close to 100 as they can get to, but it's disappointing for the West Indies, isn't it? How hard is it to get yourself back? 54 for 5 England were. They're well on top. I know one of those was tonight, watching Mark Wood, but they're still going to hope they're going to bowl out England and have something of a lead, perhaps even quite a sizable one. And now the game's been turned on its head, and quite quickly, because it's Bazball fashion. England are going at shade under 5 and over, 4.8 or so and over, which is a good lick.
Well, I think there's been some rather interesting fields set to the pace bowlers of the West Indies. Currently on the offside, there's one slip, and then there's a deep cover and an extra cover. So if they bowl a good ball on off stump, it gets knocked into the offside for a single, and that can be a bit dispiriting. So it's rather questionable fields, perhaps, in the last half hour from the West Indies, and England have grabbed the initiative through some good stroke play, but also some rather indifferent fields. Look, this is the ebb and flow of the longer format, first-class cricket, and the West Indies haven't played a huge amount of it, so I suppose it's no surprise to see them struggle a little bit.
338 for 8 England, that lead 56, make that 57 now. Another run for Chris Wokes, who moves to 46. Gus Atkinson off the mark of his first ball with one. 339 for 8.
Here in our Parisian cafe, Dan, we all gave each other the same look, which is kind of that wicket was your fault.
My fault?
Well,
I guess I did,
like commentator's curse, really, wasn't it?
Well, I bigged him up. I'm a big fan, you see. He plays for my team,
Yes, exactly.
And I thought I was going to get the mo, but he was going to swipe it for 6, and I was going to be able to wax lyrical, but I did the opposite. Sorry.
That's all right. Ball-by-ball commentary on Sports Extra for the rest of the evening. Let's round up here on 5 Live what's happened on day one of Paris 2024. 2 medals for Team GB. As we've been hearing, Jonathan Overend has actually described both of them today. Let's hear from Yasmin Harper and Scarlett Mew Jensen after we hear Jonathan describe exactly how they won bronze.
Back somersaults, it was a good dive, but there might be some issues that the judges will find. It's certainly not a glaring error like the Aussies, but what will the Brits feel about that?
Well, I've got to think that they must feel that they're in with a chance now. The Italians, one of them could barely get her legs over. She had to save the dive by bending her knees to look like she was going in straight there. The judges doubt will be fooled by that. No, they're not.
They're not. 4th for Italy. It's going to be a bronze for Great Britain on day one of the Olympic Games in Paris. And it's going to be Britain's first ever female synchro diving medal. What an extraordinary achievement from Scarlett Mew Jensen and Yasmin Harper.
What was the pressure like delivering your dives today, but also, Scarlett, waiting for everyone else?
Oh my gosh, I haven't competed in a very long time, and for that to be my first event after a while was ridiculous. I was very, very shaky, but I knew I could trust in Yaz, and I knew I had to trust in myself, that I've done the dive so many times. But yeah, I mean, afterwards was also ridiculous. We knew that we needed a really good one, but we couldn't have done any more, so you're sort of stood there helpless. But yeah, I mean, I can't really describe it.
Yasmin, there was an image of shock on your faces when Australia messed up their final dive, which is such a rarity at the highest level, isn't it? What was that moment like, that sort of realisation that you were in, basically?
Well, it's hard to describe because on our last dive, we did everything we could. So we stood there for a few minutes just waiting to see, we knew it was going to be really tight. And when the Australians failed to deliver on their final round, I think we were just in such shock because we kind of just thought that this was going to be a 4th place for us. But then for that to happen and to be coming away with the bronze medal is amazing.
We also PB'd as well,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah,
So-
we got a personal best
Yeah.
today.
It's an amazing achievement and hopefully the start of a medal rush for the team. How much confidence do you think is that going to give everyone else who was watching, cheering, knitting away in the stands?
We've got such an incredible team with us here at this Olympics, as well as the last and a few before that. But I think we've definitely got the strongest team here this year, and I've got every faith in all of them to go out there and, you know, show what we're all made of and hopefully bring home some more silverware.
You have a little chink of the Eiffel Tower around your neck and it's embedded in your bronze medal. Fantastic. Well done.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So Jonathan then went from the diving this morning to the cycling this afternoon and saw another medal for Great Britain, and that came from Anna Henderson, who took silver in the women's road race time trial and then spoke with Jill Douglas.
And a huge congratulations. What a fantastic performance. Olympic silver medalist. How does that sound?
I can't believe you're actually saying it. I really had a small feeling that maybe I could push for the podium and to be second behind somebody like Grace Brown. I can't believe it. I burst into tears when I found out. So all the effort this year has been worth it. Broke a collarbone twice this year, and it's been a bit of a rough year. And to not end the season like this, but achieve a goal like this is unbelievable.
And to take that silver medal by a second, sitting on you, waiting to see if it was going to be bronze or silver.
Yeah, I missed the world's podium last year by 2 seconds, and I was like, this is not going to happen again. So I just kept pushing all the way to the line, and it was really horrible conditions out there today, so I'm really thankful that I could stay upright on my bike as well. And I was a bit of a grandma through the corners, but that paid off, and I used the power on the straights, and here I am.
It was a really measured ride, but just how cautious did you have to be given the conditions?
I kind of it's really strange. I kind of blacked out through the whole thing, but I think I was super cautious because I think a lot of girls had problems today, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy it paid off, so I can't say anything else.
Go get that medal.
Thank you. Can't wait.
Jill Douglas with Anna Henderson. Josh Tarling in the men's time trial finished fourth. He had a puncture, had to change his bike during that race, and that was probably crucial in the difference between him getting a medal and finishing fourth. The event was won by Remco Evenepoel, who took gold for Belgium. Been a good day for Britain's eventing team. Dressage it was today, and Sonia McLaughlin has watched the whole thing unfold. And you saw a new Olympic record, Sonia.
We did. Now, Britain's eventers went into these games as favourites to defend the Olympic title, and they won in Tokyo. Huge expectations, and with it no little pressure, but boy did they rise to it today. Laura Collette with near dressage perfection to sit in gold medal position overnight on London 52, an Olympic record, breaking a mark that had stood since Sydney in 2000. Her teammates Ros Cantor and Lordship's Gruffalo sixth individually. Tom McEwen is 11th with Dublin, and it all adds up to a British team that sits in gold medal position overnight ahead of Germany, who are second, France, who are third. Nicola Wilson has been with us all day, Olympic silver medalist from London 2012. Your highlight, Nicola, Laura Collette?
Oh, absolutely. It was poetry, wasn't it? But all three have done such solid performances, and what a fantastic first phase to the competition. It's all to play for.
Well, let's hear from her. Yes, I was going to say, well, let's hear from Laura Collette, shall we, who spoke to Sonia after her round.
I'm going to say one word, Laura. Wow. Are you aware that's an Olympic record?
Winnie just told me that, so yeah, that's pretty cool.
Winnie is your media officer. So
Yes.
let that sink in for a second. That was done by David O'Connor in Sydney 2000, and you've beaten it. What does that mean to you right now?
Look, that horse, he's one in a million. I've said it all along that, he loves a crowd, and I was just hoping that I hadn't made a mistake saying that when I saw how big the crowd was here. But look, he's an absolute show-off, and he loved being in front of a palace with a lot of people cheering him on. So, look, I'm just so lucky to sit on a horse like that.
Because I looked up at the scoreboard and I saw 17.50, and I was like, that can't be right. Have they got that wrong? Just explain the emotions, because you punched the air, you were giving that horse a gorgeous pat. That is something you must have worked so hard for.
Yeah, there's a lot of people involved in getting a score like that. I'm just the lucky one that gets to sit there and enjoy the moment. But, you know, from everyone back home, it's a huge team effort just to get here, let alone go and do a performance like that. So there's too many people to thank individually. But, you know, the National Lottery have got us here, given us the opportunity to come and show us, you know, at our best. And, for that, we're so grateful.
And imagine somewhere Tom McEwen was sitting going, darn you, Laura Collette, I've been leading since I was the 9th horse into the ring and I've waited and now you've done that. How much do you drive each other on?
Oh, we have such an amazing bond as a team. Yes, we're here as individuals, but fundamentally we're here as a team to go and win a gold medal. You know, me and Tom were lucky to be in Tokyo and get that feeling. We know what it's like and we want to do it again. So, yes, I'm sure he was annoyed for a second, but also he would have known that it meant the team were back up there.
Are you aware no British woman has ever won the individual gold medal at an Olympic Games? And how much might that be a driver?
Everything's a drive. You know, we want to rewrite the record books. I've been lucky with our horse to write record books at badminton and at 5-star level before, so let's try and do it at Olympic Games as well.
That was Laura Collette with Sonia. Go on, Sonia.
No, I was just going to say that this British team aiming to become the first since Richard Meade's team of 1972 to successfully defend an Olympic title, and they have made the most perfect start.
So, Nicola, what happens now? Because it's cross-country tomorrow. So what happens to riders and horses tonight to get everybody ready for that?
So the horses will have they'll be looked after back at the stables. They'll go out for a little hand graze. They'll keep in a lovely routine that they're used to. The riders have been able to walk the course, I think, since Wednesday. So they'll have a firm idea in their minds what lines they want to ride tomorrow. Their minute markers. It's a course of 9 minutes and 3 seconds, and they'll have minute markers throughout the whole course. So the riders will have been walking it every day. They'll now switch their minds. They'll maybe enjoy for a split second what they've achieved today, but then they'll be very much moving their focus towards the cross country, which is a whole different competition. You've tested harmony, elasticity, rideability, and calmness for the dressage, and then you move on to the cross country, which is galloping over solid fences, across the country over, as I said, 9 minutes, and they're galloping at 570 metres per minute, and the horses have their adrenaline up, and it's just an exciting day. So they'll be very much getting their heads and focusing on that now.
And Chappers, we hope, given the backdrop we have here for the cross country, which is effectively just the horses are galloping through the forests here at the Palace of Versailles, that we get a little bit of sunshine to do this course and to do the horse and to do the spectacle justice. Because London 2012 with the eventing and the cross country at Greenwich looked fabulous with the London city skyline in the background. But this, I think, if we just get it right with the sun, if the sun just turns up, it could be London 2012 with knobs on, to be honest.
Just tell us about this statement that the governing body have released about one of the Brazilian riders.
Yes, this is a rider called Carlos Parro, who was riding a horse called Safira. PETA, the animal charity, the people for the ethical treatment of animals, sent some photos to the FEI, which appeared to show him basically creating unnecessary discomfort to a horse. The horse was basically had a hyperflexion of his neck. Sometimes in that process, oxygen can be restricted. Carlos Parra is riding here for Brazil. He's been given a warning by the FEI, but he was allowed to continue, and he rode in the dressage test for the eventing earlier today. But obviously, Chappers, in the current climate, it's not what we want to see in horse sport, but it does show that the FEI are taking this extremely seriously, and the rider has been warned.
Okay, thank you. Are you done for the day? Is the dressage done?
Do you know what? It's just finished. The last horse has exited the arena. It was ridden by a Belgian athlete. You never guess what it was called. It was called Origi. I was really quite hoping that it might be owned by the former Liverpool footballer, but I don't think it probably wasn't. But there you go.
Although what I've learned today, would that be its nickname or its posh name?
No, that's actually its posh name.
Right.
Oh my God! If you honestly, you should see some of the names of the horses here. Which is why I've made mental note to self: make sure you know the stable name, because I really don't want to be going commentating when there's all these enormous names that you could trip over.
Sonia, thank you. Nicola, thank you. More from the two of them tomorrow when it's the cross-country part of the eventing. Right, watching men's qualification subdivision 2 is Lewis Smith. This is in the team gymnastics. After Team GB in the first round this morning, subdivision 1 went very well. But as far as this afternoon is concerned, who's impressed you, Lewis?
I'll tell you what, it's been an incredible competition. I'll give my best on rounding up what's just transpired, but my partner in crime, Ellie, she's at home resting her voice, so bear with me. As it stands, as the team stands now, China are in first, Japan second, but in third place, Great Britain. Now this is incredible because we've come fourth in the last 2 Olympic Games. I mean, we haven't got a medal in the team event since the London Olympic Games, and I was actually part of that team. So this has given the guys that bit of hope and that bit of light at the tunnel to say this is possible. So to be in third place now, going into the last subdivision in subdivision 3, is an incredible spot to be in. So that is really exciting stuff.
Sorry, Lewis, does subdivision 3 have big hitters in it as well?
Not particularly.
Right,
I mean,
okay.
we have Switzerland, Spain, Italy and Turkey, and you know, these are all countries that we beat on a regular basis. So in terms of how it's standing, I mean, we've got Ukraine just behind us in 4th and USA in 5th. I mean, that is an incredible position to be in. I mean, we were hoping to try and glimpse at trying to get a bronze medal, but to be 3 marks ahead of Ukraine and America and be sitting comfortably in bronze at this stage is great. Now, it does all wipe clean and it does all start again for team finals, but in terms of leaving an impression for the judges, that is incredible stuff, so that's really exciting.
And then on the individual side of things?
Yeah, so the all-around is led by Bo Heng from China in first position, but in 5th we've got our own Jake Jarman, and in 6th we've got Joe Frazier. So, I mean, that's incredible in itself, because between 3rd and 7th place there's only 0.5 tenths separating them. So when it comes again for the all-around final, Jake and Joe are in with a serious chance of trying to squeeze and get another bronze medal in the all-around. So that is something that's going to be really good to watch as well.
Lewis, thank you very much. Lewis Smith with us, part of our gymnastics team. Good day for Britain's men in the gymnastics. England, I think, have lost another. Dan Norcross?
They have. I'm afraid it's Chris Wokes. He's just slapped one to cover. They're trying to get quick runs at the back end of the innings now. They're 363 for 9. The lead is 81. 62 for Wokes off 77 balls. Craig Brathwaite with the catch. Mark Ramprakash alongside me. Another good knock from Wokes. Doesn't let you down, and here at his home ground.
Yeah, it's such a good cricketer. He has been such a good cricketer for England and Warwickshire, of course, and the crowd here at Edgbaston gave him a very warm ovation when he got to his 50. It's been a classy knock. Typical Wokes, actually. Makes it look very easy. Very annoying, actually, Chris Wokes. You know, he's a good cricketer. He's a very good golfer, football player. He can do everything and makes it look very easy. But he's played really well. Valuable runs for England and a very useful lead, albeit that England are now 9 down.
Yep, 363 for 9. Bashir has joined Atkinson, though, and Atkinson can give it a bit of tap. So Alzari Joseph with that wicket. He's not had a good day. 16.3 overs, 3 for 110. We asked our scorer, Andy Zoltzman, about this. So I thought his economy rate's not great. It's the second worst economy rate of anybody who's bowled over 50 overs in a series. I know that's a bit of an esoteric stat for you, but I thought I'd give you one. 363 for 9. The lead is 81.
You've gone for 100 and what off 16 overs?
110 off 16.3. He's going at about 6 and over in this series. I mean, for the leader of their attack, that's not great.
Dan, Mark, thank you very much. Let's go back to the women's kayak singles. They're doing their second runs at the moment. Kimberly Woods will go a little bit later this hour, John Akers.
about 20 minutes, we think, for Kimberly Woods for her run. She's sitting 9th in the standings at the moment after the first run in the kayak, which is the seated event with the double paddle. She's got a real medal hope, Kimberly Woods. She wasn't happy with herself after her first run, but she is only 3 seconds, just under 3 seconds behind the leader at the moment, who is Camille Prigent, who has got family in the game. Her mum and dad were both canoe slalomers, her brother, a cousin as well, but her performance is 4th in a world championship, her best. So it just shows you how advantageous that home water is, because we've got fastest in the men's C1, the canoe, is a Frenchman at the moment, and leading the women's K1 is also a French woman in Prigent. So I'll keep you up to date. Kimberly Woods, we think, going in the next 20 minutes.
Thank you. That will please the home crowds here in Paris. To the tennis next. Carlos Alcaraz safely through the first round. The reigning Wimbledon and French Open champion beat Hadi Habib of Lebanon in straight sets earlier, and this is what he makes of his Olympic experience.
Well, for me, it's such an honor representing my country. Showing my flag on the court. It was an incredible experience for me playing my first match in the Olympic Games. Really happy to get my first win as well. And the atmosphere were crazy, totally different from other, I'm gonna say, normal tournaments. So it was great for me to live this experience, and really happy to get through.
And I want to talk a little bit about the atmosphere at the Olympics. I've seen so many pictures of you out and about, appreciating the Olympic Village with people. Tell us a little bit about the atmosphere of that in comparison to, say, a normal tennis tournament.
Well, obviously we are living with other athletes, the best athletes of each country in their sport. So for me, it's such an incredible experience. Meeting all the athletes and knowing and watching, their sports as well. So for me, it's as I said, it's an incredible experience that you just can live one every 4 years. So staying in the village is such an incredible experience.
Well, Maz Friki has been at the tennis for us at Roland Garros, and he should be in action later on, shouldn't he, Carlos Alcaraz?
Yeah, that straight sets win, and we just heard from him there, giving him enough time, Alcaraz, to fuel up before he goes again tonight for Spain, here on Chatrier with Rafa Nadal in the doubles. They were just having a little training session sort of thing here on Chatrier a couple of minutes ago, just getting a feel of the conditions perhaps. Not that it's an arena that both of them aren't already incredibly familiar with, but they've got this matchup in the next hour or so against the 6th seed from Argentina, Maximo Gonzalez and Andres Molteni. So it's a pretty tough matchup for them, for two players who obviously as individuals have clearly been the very best in their sport, but they're not so used to playing doubles, not so used to playing with each other, and Rafa Nadal in particular has been keen to mention that, trying to dampen down maybe the expectations that people have on them in this competition, pointing out as well that he himself obviously hasn't played a lot of tennis over the last few months.
Also today you saw Novak Djokovic go through.
Yeah, a performance really contrasting with what he offered in the Wimbledon final earlier this month from the 24-time Grand Slam champion. He dropped only one game to Matthew Ebden from Australia. He took just 53 minutes to win that match, and he looked like he was enjoying his tennis. He was smiling, he was laughing, his movement was very good. He still has that grey strapping on his right knee, but he was doing lots of stretches before this match, slipping and sliding to lots of balls as well. So he looks in good shape and in a positive frame of mind. And remember, this is the one title, if you like, that Djokovic hasn't managed to win yet. He wants that career Golden Slam, and after this victory he admitted he's looking to add to that bronze medal he won in Beijing 16 years ago.
Yeah, it was a great start. Tough on my opponent, who is focused on doubles for the last 2-3 years. He hasn't played any singles match. Rules are, a little bit unlogical to me, but it is what it is. I think I kick-started this tournament in a great fashion, and hopefully I can keep it up. Atmosphere was amazing on the court. A lot of people from different nations with their respective flags. Mexican wave, DJ, music. It was a very very lively atmosphere on the court. You know, we obviously tennis players know this court very well because of the Roland Garros that we get to, you know, play in and participate in every single year. But you know, first time we have Olympic Games, and it's quite different. I must say, it's always the greatest honor to represent your country.
You've just started a TikTok. I saw, I mean, it was a little bit of humour, but it was a lovely shot of you going past the gold medal as well. We all know how much it means to you, but what are the emotions like coming into this Olympics compared to previous times, for example, in Tokyo, where there was, you know, the golden slam on the cards?
Well, I must say that it's pretty similar in terms of the excitement, in terms of the emotions that I'm going through. You know, I'm you know, always looking forward to represent my country. It's, as I said, greatest privilege and honor. Of course, coming into Olympic Games, normally the Olympic year for us is, you know, the schedule or the calendar is very congested. You know, there's a lot of tournaments happening. We had a Roland Garros not long ago. We had Wimbledon. We have to change surfaces. It was kind of on a week-to-week basis. But, you know, Olympics are, you know, the oldest and most important sports event in the history of sport. So I'm enjoying my time here. I'm focused on trying to get as far as I can. Hopefully I get a chance to fight for a medal for my country.
And last question, you could potentially play Rafa, who we know you've had some great matches here. If he beats Martin Fucsovic, what would that be like to play Rafa here again?
It would be a great spectacle. It would be a blockbuster, of course, that I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to. I'm looking forward to it too. You know, it's a greatest challenge, arguably one of the greatest challenges that we have in our sport. You know, playing Nadal and Roland Garros. You know, he's done incredible things in this court. You know, legendary status. So of course he's not maybe playing on the level that he was before, but you know, in this court he's always at his top. So let's see what happens. He's got to win his first round. I'll be ready for that matchup if it comes to that.
Novak Djokovic after making it through to the next round here at the Olympics. The weather's played havoc with the tennis schedule, hasn't it, Maz? Many players haven't got underway today, including every single Brit.
Yeah, all 4 Brits due to play in the singles today haven't got near a court. British number 1 Jack Draper, you know, was due first up on the outside courts against Kina Shikori, but I don't even think the outside courts have been uncovered, and they finally admitted defeat to the weather gods, the organisers, in the last few minutes, and have confirmed now there will be no play on the outside courts. Just worth mentioning as well, one match-up here later after that doubles match for the Spanish pairing of Carlos Alcaraz and Rafael Nadal. 2 former world number 1s and Grand Slam champions are meeting in Angelique Kerber of Germany and Naomi Osaka of Japan. Of course, it could be Kerber's last ever match on tour as well, after she confirmed earlier this week that this Olympic tennis tournament is going to be her last before she retires.
Thank you, Maz. I think it's safe to say that the organisers of these Olympics have got the men's rugby sevens final that they wanted. Current Olympic champions Fiji will take on the host France at 6:45. We'll have commentary here on 5 Live. In the French team is Aaron Grandidier, born in England, Bromley to be specific, and here he is after their semi-final win over South Africa this afternoon.
Unreal, lost for words. I mean, you prepare yourself all your life for a moment like this, but when it comes, there's honestly no preparation that can prepare you enough for the emotions you feel when you get there. So lost for words, so proud of the team because it wasn't an easy one to go and get, but here we are.
I asked the South African captain, did it feel like they were playing against 8 players? With the crowd, did it feel like you were playing with 8 players?
Absolutely. I mean, this crowd has been absolutely incredible. I feel so privileged to be able to play in front of them. 79,000 people were a dream.
And how did you turn it around there out on the pitch? Because it was a tough old first half, wasn't it? South Africa then took the lead. Did you change anything tactically, or was it just a case that things started going your way?
No, I think things didn't go our way because we weren't sticking to the game plan. So at half-time, the big point was just to stick to our game plan and get our basics right, and because we knew if we got our basics right, we were gonna win, and that's what we did, and we got the result that we needed.
France's first ever medals, but I know you will want it to be a particular colour tonight.
Absolutely. We've had this objective for 3 years. We haven't been afraid to admit that that's our goal. We're looking for that gold medal. Now we've just got to put it all together one last time.
Andy Stevenson with the question. Sarah Orchard and Tom Vandel watched the semi-finals. They had to dig deep a little bit, didn't they, in that semi-final, the French, Sarah?
Yeah, well, I have to say, Mark, don't get me wrong, France do deserve this place in this final for the season that they've had. They're the current World Series champions after they won the grand final. And, you know, because of the introduction of Antoine Dupont, they've had this stardust. But this Olympic tournament hasn't been easy for them. They drew their first match with the USA. They lost to Fiji in the pool stage. They have been building towards this. It will take a very special performance for them in the final to beat the Fijians, who are the undisputed kings of sevens.
I wonder, Tom, whether, and not necessarily whether they've been playing with the handbrake on in every previous game, including the semi-final, but they've been playing with the pressure and expectation of having to get to the final. Maybe now, later on, they can throw caution to the wind.
Yeah, and they're going to have to beat this Fiji side. They're going to have to play upper level than they played before. And yet the pressure of the home crowd and the expectation, obviously Dupont, all the fanfare that's gone around with him as well. But look, it's going to be a complete clash of different styles here. You've got the French who play within a very regimented structure, and when they go away from that, they do tend to fall apart. And then you've got Fiji, who will literally play from anywhere, unpredictable. They've got to stay within their system if they're going to have any chance of breaking down Fiji. But it's going to be a very exciting final.
But if they hadn't got to the gold medal match, you know how it works. It'd be, why did Dupont give up 15s since the World Cup? Why did he not play in the Six Nations? Because they haven't got to the gold medal match. That can be put to one side now.
Yeah, definitely. Because even myself, when I heard that Dupont was going to the sevens, I was like, why would he do that? Obviously, chasing the Olympics is one thing, but to not play in the Six Nations. But now, he's proved everyone wrong. He's got to the final of the Olympics, and what an occasion, and what an amazing achievement if he can go on and win it with France.
But as you both said, and Sarah you'd favour the Fijians, wouldn't you? Yeah. I mean, as we said earlier, there's something magical about watching them play sevens.
There really is, and you've got to remember that this is a nation that had never won an Olympic medal until rugby sevens became an Olympic sport. They are the two-time gold medalists. They've never lost a game in the Olympics ever, because this is only the third time we've seen it at the Games. The whole nation expects, that's what they live and breathe, and I can tell you everyone in Suva will be up watching at 5:45 a.m. It kicks off at 6:45 p.m. where we are in the UK. But I have to say, this is what they do. This is what they're about. I mean, I think they produced a banknote when they won it the first time. They've had all sorts done. And keep an eye out for the guy, Jerry Tuwai. I'm convinced if he wins a third gold medal, there's going to be statues of him as a bare minimum across the whole nation.
100%.
Sarah, Tom, thank you. England are all out. Dan Norcross.
376 all-out, flurry of runs at the back end. Gus Atkinson, 2 towering sixes into the Holly stand. He was the last man to go, though. Caught off the bowling of Alzari Joseph, trying to get a third one. Ended up with 21. 4 England batters made it over 50. Root, Stokes, Jamie Smith top scoring with 95, and Chris Wokes with 62. So a lead of 94. The West Indies are going to have around about an hour to bat. It could be a very tricky hour indeed. England 376 all out, the lead 94.
Kelly will be here in just over 50 minutes. She's live inside the La Défense arena for the swimming. 4 finals on the bill tonight, plus Adam Peaty's 100 metres breaststroke semi-final. The 2-time Olympic champion Rebecca Adlington came by the cafe a little bit earlier after being at the morning heats.
I think it's quite a slow pool. Everything was a little bit slow today. I think the depth of the pool does change things, so hopefully that doesn't mess up things too much, but everyone's slow.
So does a shallower depth make it quicker or slower? How does it work?
Slower.
So shallower depth makes it slower?
Apparently, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know the science behind it, but it's, anyway. And I think across the board, everyone was a little bit surprised how slow it was, but everyone's slow. So it's one of those, it's not like one lane's slow and the other half of the pool is fast. So it'll be fair in that aspect.
Just from the Adam Peaty thing this morning, that's just job done, up and running, there we are.
Job done. I think it's one of those, the first one you just need to kind of just blow the cobwebs away, set up your pace, just kind of understand that going through that motion of going into the call room, okay, how everything works, and job done, tick. Move on to the next semi-final now.
Peaty was second, James Wilby was sixth. When you're in heats and then into the semi-finals, times obviously matter in the semi-finals because you want to be in certain lanes, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you trying to lay down markers for your competitors as well, or is that really a sideshow compared to just wanting the best lane in a final?
Adam does naturally always want to just give it his all and naturally be kind of one of the fastest in the middle lane all the time. Adam's never been one of those athletes that take it easy or anything like that. He's like, no, I want to lay down my marker. It is hard because tonight he'll be in the first semi-final, so naturally you always want to be in the second semi-final.
So you know what you've got to do.
Yeah, so just so you can see what everyone else has done. So it is one of those that's a bit of a shame, but it's one of those with Adam. There's no way he's not making it. Touch wood, no disqualifications or anything like that. But he's going to be absolutely fine.
One of the highlights of the whole games in any sport is the women's 400 metre freestyle this evening.
Yeah, well, I always say that anyway, but that was my event.
But I mean, this is to have the showdown, to have three women, all at slightly different stages of their career, with the fastest 10 times in the world ever between them. Not many other events in any sport are going to get that level of competition.
And do you know what I find mad about it is the fact that all of these, I wouldn't say the 400 metres is any one of their best events. That's even more mad. I would have said they were all slightly better at another event. So it's one of those that when you bring that together, I think they're all going to have strengths and weaknesses. I mean, Summer McIntosh, she's only 17 years of age. So who knows what she's got up her sleeve or got in her bag, because there's just nowhere near her best and her peak. But I can't wait for that one. That's one of my highlights of the whole entire Olympics, so they get it on day one.
So McIntosh is 17 and from Canada. Titmus is early 20s, 23, I think, from Australia, and Ledecky's 28.
Yeah.
An American. So who are you picking and why?
Oh, I would say not Katie, but only because I think Katie is a lot better at the 8 and the 15. I don't know how much sprint work that she's been focusing on and doing. For me, I can't see past Titmus from Australia. She has just been incredible and so dominant, and that 200 metres freestyle that she did at her trials was incredible. So if she can keep up that pace, I think I just can't see past her. But Summer, I just don't think we've seen her best. So it's going to be fascinating. But I would go Titmus. If I had to, I would pick her. The way that I think about Summer McIntosh is a little bit like a Phelps. Like, she is just so good at so many different disciplines, different strokes, everything else. So she can pull something together. It'll be interesting to see whether she's got the endurance that the other girls because I don't know really how much distance work she does, but she beat Ledecky at the 800 earlier in the year, so it'd be really fascinating. And I think it's just one of those that it's whose preparations worked out the best, because everyone's trials for this competition has been so different as well. So have the Americans and Australia, who were a lot closer to the games, have they peaked at them? It's going to be interesting to find out.
And then we also have tonight both British men and women in the 4x100 relays.
Yes, I think it's one of those. I love the relays. I'm such a relay girl. I'm like, I love them. I just think it lifts everybody.
Particularly the mixed relays, which are just some of the best things to watch at the Olympics.
I genuinely say this. If you are not interested in swimming, please turn on for the mixed medley relays, because you will love it. Yes. It's just one of those. You find it exciting. The lead changes
tactics,
all the time.
All sorts.
It's mad watching it, because you go, how is this an event? It's almost mad, but it's great. So I'd recommend anyone watch them. But tonight, I think they've got a big task on their hands. It is really difficult to get amongst the medals. I wouldn't say this was our strongest relays performances. We know the men's 4x2 is so strong, and certainly that 4x1 medley. But I think who knows? Because actually it's one of those that I think there was a few little surprises today. It's one of those who's ready for the occasion tonight, because there was a few nervous faces out there this morning. So it's one of those that, not from Team GB, but from worldwide, people that you were like, oh, you didn't look that hot, and oh, you were struggling a bit there. So I think it could be anyone's.
Rebecca Adlington talked to me a little earlier on. So Kelly, live from inside the swimming pool arena in around 10 minutes time, and that Ledecky McIntosh Titmus race, the women's 400 metres freestyle, is at 7:52 UK time. Back to John Akers watching the women's kayak single heat, and I think Kimberly Woods is about to go.
You would be right. She is about to go. We've got a surprise leader here. It's the American Evie Liebfast. She's 20 years of age. Both of her parents were whitewater canoers and kayakers. Her dad's the national coach. She was a prodigy, went to Tokyo at the age of 17. She's leading. She's put down a real marker, not 4 seconds off her time in the first run here in the heats, and she's ahead of Prigent and Galaskova as well of the Czech Republic at the moment. So that is a big surprise for the 20-year-old. But here goes Kimberly Wood. She's already qualified from the heats, but she'll want a better time. She's sitting in 11th at the moment. She is a medal hope for GB, wearing number 9 in her purple kayak. Away she goes, pumping her hands as the paddle flies through the white water, through a reverse gate, and then a forward gate, and she's just clipped it. 2-second penalty. Just clipped it with her shoulder, I think, through another. Kimberly Woods ducks and weaves and bobs and weaves and limbos through another gate on the way down. If they miss a gate, it's a 50-second penalty. If they clip one, it's a 2-second penalty. What can she do from here? Can she go clean through another reverse, then powers across the white water, across a stopper? 12,000 has been here watching the whitewater events today. The crowd's been absolutely terrific. There aren't as many as there were before. I'd say the stands are half full as Kimberly Woods goes through another reverse and now powers down towards another checkpoint. We're about to see, yeah, she's only 0.8 of a second down despite that penalty, Kimberly Woods, so she's going quickly. What can she do on the bottom section of the course now? About 30 seconds to go, through another gate, across a really tough section, battling against white water, limboing over a reverse gate, the red gate, and then powering towards another one. She's quickest, Kimberly Woods. She's half a second quicker than Lee Farth with a penalty. This is a great run, and she's into a reverse now, swings around it, swings ahead. Only your head has to go through the gate. Now onto a green, limbo's on that, forward gate, now the power goes down. She's powering through. Can she be quicker? She's not. She's lost a bit of time. She's lost a little bit of time on that last section. She bobs her head from side to side, but then waves to the crowd. She gave that everything. Applauds above her head. She is 7th quickest, but she's just proved in that run that she's got real speed if she can avoid the penalty. She will be in the semi-finals, which are going to be tomorrow. The semi-final and final of this event tomorrow. Let's hope she gets a clean run and can bring home a medal.
She's had a good day there, hasn't she? Although what happened in the first run actually happened in the second run. Just that final part of the course is where she lost a bit of time.
Clipped a gate both times and lost a little bit. So what she'll do is she'll review it with her coach tonight where she's losing time in that section. There's a really fast bit of water in between a forward gate, a green gate and a reverse gate in that section, and she's just not getting to the reverse gate quick enough. I've seen quite a lot of competitors today losing time in that section, so they'll work on that watching the video tonight, and then tomorrow let's hope she can put it all together.
And she was beaming at the end of that as well.
Yeah.
Looked a lot happier at the end of that.
Yeah, she really beat herself up after the first run. I'm really rooting for Kimberly. You know, she's 28 years of age, she's from Cheshire, and she's had a really tough start. She got bullied in school, she's self-harmed, she's thought about taking her own life at times. She froze, I think she'll admit, in the final in Tokyo in 2021. She came 10th out of 10, and she would love to get on the podium in the kayak. She's a really good competitor in the kayak cross as well, which is coming later this week, which you are going to absolutely love. She's really good at that. She's world champion in that and a bronze medalist in kayak. So let's see tomorrow, but a good day for Kimberly and for Adam Burgess, by the way, who's qualified for the semi-finals as well in the C1, that's the canoe.
Thank you very much, John. Let's just switch away from the Olympics. Qualifying took place for the Belgian Grand Prix earlier. This will be the final race ahead of the summer break. Let's join 5 Live's F1 team.
Well, in pretty similar conditions to what the Olympians are having to deal with in Paris right now, the 20 Formula 1 drivers dealing with some fairly similar mixed conditions in Belgium for qualifying ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix. And Max Verstappen was indeed the fastest at the end of Q3, but Mark Priestley, who is alongside me, the former McLaren F1 mechanic, he will have a 10-place grid penalty, so he will start in 11th spot. Can he still make his way up through the field? Could he still be a threat for the win?
I think the win might be a tall order. This is a racetrack here at Spa-Francorchamps where you definitely can overtake. It's also a racetrack that really suits Max Verstappen's Red Bull car. He's been the man on form, and he didn't just finish fastest in qualifying. He finished by a massive 0.6 of a second over Charles Leclerc in second. So if anybody can, he can. He's definitely going to move forward. Whether he can take the win might be a long shot, because although he's got a dominant car, it's not the dominant car he's had over the last couple of years.
But you can overtake around this circuit. That is the other thing to mention. It's one of the longest circuits. It is indeed the longest circuit on the calendar, just over 7 kilometres, with a mightily long Kemmel straight that is prime for overtaking. So Verstappen will be a man to watch, because even in the dry sessions on Friday, he has looked mighty. He finished in first at the end of Q3, but as I say, he will start 11th. That means Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari will start on pole position. And to be honest, that surprised me. He pulled a quick lap out of the bag right at the very end.
Yeah, he did, because the Ferrari has not been the class act of the field in recent rounds, but this was a wet session, and when you get these mixed conditions, the driver can often make even more of a difference. I think that's what happened in the case of Charles Leclerc. He put together a lap that was very, very good, made the best use of whatever the strengths, characteristics of his car were in these conditions around this track, and delivered a lap that was really quite good. I mean, 0.6 behind Verstappen is a lot, but actually he's still by far best of the rest. So whether he can hang on to that tomorrow, he'll start, of course, in pole position once Verstappen moves back with his penalty. He's got Sergio Perez in the other Red Bull right alongside him. That's a very fast car to be racing along the very quick early part of this first lap tomorrow.
Now, while it's great, though, for Sergio Perez to finally have a decent qualifying, indeed, he will finish third in Q3. That means he'll start from second place. He'll have that front row, but that's his best qualifying, his best start for a Grand Prix in 8 races. You've got to go back to China, and he was still 0.6 off his teammate.
And I think that'll be the big asterisk against what he's done today, because on the face of it, starting on the front row puts himself in a really strong position for the Grand Prix, which is exactly what he needed to do, not just for himself and for the team, but in the face of real pressure of his career in Formula One that he's under right now. So he's done a great job in that sense, but to be so far off the pace of your teammate, that's always going to be the question that everybody asks. Can Red Bull afford to have a driver in their second car that is so far away from the performance level of the driver in the other one?
Well, we shall see what Perez can do at a time where he could well be looking at the end of his Formula One career. After the summer break, talks that he might be out of that Red Bull seat, and this could be his last weekend. But that is still all to happen. Behind him on the grid will be Lewis Hamilton. But the two McLarens, after 1 and 2 in Hungary, on the road in Q3, it was 5th and 6th for Norris and Piastri. They'll both be bumped up a place. Can they make their way through the field?
I think Lando particularly, but both of the McLarens are going to be the ones to watch, because they are the quickest car in the dry conditions. They're very, very strong. Well, aside from Max Verstappen, who's out of this picture, at least in the beginning, very strong on Friday practice. They are the ones that tend to come alive in the race. I think if you're going to put your money on anybody from outside of the top 3, it's going to be Norris.
Well, that's what Mark Priestley thinks. You can join us to see how it all unfolds from 1:45. We'll be on the BBC Sport website and app, and on your chosen smart speaker. Charles Leclerc will start on pole position alongside him, Sergio Perez, with a penalty applied to Verstappen, who starts from 11th for the Belgian Grand Prix.
Let's go back to Edgbaston. West Indies already a wicket down. Dan Norcross.
And it's a big one. It's Craig Brathwaite, who's probably been their most consistent batter throughout this series. In the very first over, the last ball of the first over, Chris Wokes with an absolute beauty, clipping off stump, defeating the defensive prod of the skipper Craig Brathwaite. The West Indies are 2 for 1. Mark Ramprakash alongside me. We thought this was going to be a tricky hour or so, and it's just got that much trickier.
Well, it's not been a good day for the West Indies captain. I felt he rather lost control in the field at the end there, and England adding runs quickly. And then, of course, he had to come out and face the music as an opening batsman. Never easy. And that battle around the top of off stump, Chris Wokes won it. Of course, Wokes running hot, having batted beautifully, took the first over and delivered from sort of quite wide of the crease and managing to nip it away from the right-hander Brathwaite and clipping the top of off stump. So just exactly the delivery that you don't want as an opening batter.
Yeah, it was an absolute brute. 2 for 1. The man out, Brathwaite for a duck.
Back to the Olympics, and in the eventing, Team GB are in gold medal position after the dressage section. Laura Collette set a new Olympic record to top the individual standings. Tom McEwen is in 11th. Ros Cantor sandwiched between her teammates in 6th, and after her round she spoke to Sonia.
Well, first of all, I'm just wondering, are you slightly disappointed with your mark or not?
No, I don't think so. I actually don't know because I haven't particularly watched that many tests. You know, I've been trying to stay in my own bubble. I've watched our guys and I thought that was enough. So I've no idea really what marks I got or where I got them. So I can't really comment on that. But all I can say is that I'm extremely proud of Walter. You know, I'm really, really pleased with him. I know he's won badminton. I know he's won the Europeans, but he's only 12 years old. He very much feels like we're still only scratching the surface, and I've reminded myself a lot of that over the last week, that I would be thoroughly delighted with a clear round. To get the 4 changes in a test like that, which is a lot more difficult, you know, than what we've done before, I'm absolutely thrilled, because even last year I was delighted with 4 changes in a 5-star test, and this is another gear up. So yeah, I'm just excited that he could produce that on the world stage like this.
You've had a long wait, haven't you, all day? I mean, there's a multitude of horses have gone through. Was that playing on your nerves at all? How did you keep calm all day?
Yeah, I very much had a plan, so I always try and do this the night before. I write down what I'm going to do, you know, each hour or whenever I'm doing it.
Do you really? That's very precise.
Yeah, absolutely, just so that I know what I'm doing and I know I've ticked all the boxes. Obviously, we course walked this morning. I came in a little bit later than the others. Walter had a ride at lunchtime. You know, and then watching the others. The time does soon go, as long as I'm kind of strict with my routine.
That was Ros Cantor with Sonia McLaughlin. So the cross-country part is tomorrow, of course, plenty of coverage of that across 5 Live. For the rest of the evening, we're going to be basing ourselves in La Défense for all the swimming that's coming, including Adam Peaty's semi-final in the 100 metres breaststroke. We've got the final of the rugby sevens on the way in the men's side of things, France against Fiji. The boxing is underway as well. Steve Bunce will be at that. Kelly Cates will take over from La Défense after the latest news with Alison.